Good morning, Namo. I'm good. What's up, Donovan? Get some water, you guys. What's up, YouTube? Hello. Ruch Hashem. Good evening. Hello, sup, dude. Sup. You're being sued? No, not really. There was a guy who tried to threaten it, but I called him out immediately and he went silent. He used the language defamatory, accusations of illegal. I don't actually remember. We'll get into it. It's pretty funny. Honestly, he just got offended that I called him a Pakistani, which he literally is. But it is in his defense, I'd probably get offended too, honestly. Somebody called me that. Any recent debate offers? Yeah, actually. You know what? Thanks for reminding me. I'm going to actually reach out. Modern Day Debates. I said yes immediately. Told me the next person he'd like. He gave me a list of a few names. I just picked the first one. And I'll get you the name in a second. I don't remember it. Hold on. Where is it? There we go. Daniel Hakikacho. Daniel Hakikacho. I'm saying it like it's Asian. I'm pretty sure he's just like this. He's a Muslim guy. Nick, did you debate women propagandists on Jubilee? I don't even know what that is, but no. I did not. I can't tell you who I debated, but yeah, I hope it's going to come out soon. They didn't give us a date, but I can say at least this. The topic is something that they wouldn't want to wait on too long. It wouldn't make a lot of sense. So I'm hoping this
Yeah, because it's relevant to right now, so it wouldn't make sense to wait much longer.
Right.
I'd say probably a week at most.
At most, yeah. I thought maybe
Yeah.
this weekend, on maybe Sunday. I think that's when
maybe like Sunday, yeah.
Nick, can you debate Dan Bilzerian? Yeah, that was offered. I was supposed to debate him and Kenny Ko at the same time, 2 versus 1, and then Kenny Ko backed out. So, sorry. Maybe one day. Anyways, there's also this guy named something Martinez who he actually tagged me in a tweet today, but not just me, multiple people. I'm not sure who he is, but he was like, I really want to debate somebody, and then he tagged me, like Cam Higbee and 2 other people, and I didn't see it immediately because I don't check my notifications on X, but somebody sent it to me and I responded in his comments. It's funny, I ratioed him. I wasn't even saying anything. I said, hey, sorry, I just saw this. I'd be down to debate, but just so you know, I have already some debates lined up and I'm going to be traveling from pretty much May 1st through the 20th. So I said, if you want to wait till after that, that's cool. Like, I don't mind. I just wanted to give you the heads up. I also put out a debate request to debate some guy. I don't know who he is. He calls himself a real conservative, but he does stuff with Unfuck America Tour, which is not conservative at all. But he tried to like clip Moderate in like a very disingenuous way. Moderate just actually made a response video pretty much saying like, hey, you're being disingenuous, which you could tell he was being. Like, you can tell when something's clipped a certain way. It's like, it's the difference between like cutting out fluff and like cutting out things to make it seem better for you. So I offered to debate him on the Iran war, and I was being nice. He was being nice back in the DMs, and he's like, can you give me a week or two to prep? And I was like, yeah, sure, take all the time you need. I don't need any time. I was being a little tongue in cheek with it. I don't know if he caught it. Are you the one that debated Sneeko? Yeah, that was me. Bronca, thanks for the super chat. Pakistan officially the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. IROP? IROP. It's like IHOP, but IROP. Anyways, yeah, some guy named Daniel Hakakatoju. It's Haqiqatjou. Someone can pronounce that. Just good luck, I guess. Bronca, thanks for the super chat, aka Punjab, Afghania, Kashmir, Sindh, and Baluchistan. That's right. Yeah, that's what it's an acronym. That's what it stands for. The other person was Andrew Wilson. He thought I could debate Andrew Wilson, which I was like, yeah, I'd be down to debate Andrew Wilson. Me and him have a respect for each other, so I think that'd be pretty cool. Daniel Pikachu? Is that a joke, or does he call himself Pikachu? Because there's a few of you that have said that. Dude, you will destroy him. Daniel is Iranian, by the way. Oh, he is. Okay. I actually didn't know any of this. That guy is disgusting. I assume they all are. I've never heard of him. All I know is Andrew Wilson debated him, and I saw like a tiny bit. And
But it can't get worse than an alleged murderer. Okay, so
wait, who's an alleged murderer?
the last guy you debated.
No, we're talking about Daniel
I know, I'm saying it can't get worse than that, so.
Oh, it can get worse than that. Can you increase your volume?
I suppose you're right.
Good. Is my volume not loud enough? That's a running joke among David Wood and AP. Yeah. All right. Yeah, let me look into increasing the volume of my mic. 1 second. Let's see. Let's bring this up. Okay, how about that? How's that? Is that better or is that too loud now? Blade, thanks for the super chat. Daniel Pikachu is just an Islam apologetic. Okay. Videos have been great recently. Thanks. Honestly, I need to start posting more. I've been taking a kind of not a break. I've just been real busy. I haven't been doing as much like short form content. Can hear you loud and clear. Good. Oh, that's good. Perfect. All right, awesome. Let's keep it there then. I moved it up from 70 to 80. All right, let's get into some guest requests. Happy, what's up?
Hey man, sorry, it's actually Happy Baruch Hashem. It's a throwback to 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Happy Baruch Hashem, man.
happy Baruch Hashem to all. Daniel Hakikachu, so he's just kind of what you would expect, but his recent claim to fame is Andrew Wilson. That is when when Andrew Wilson became somewhat viral for saying that Muslims are all inbred.
I didn't know that,
guy. So basically, he did a debate with Andrew Wilson, and he was talking about pros and cons of cultures and whatnot, and he said, "Look, at the end of the day, our culture's better because we don't all marry our family and fuck our family members," and that was it. That was the end of the debate. It was like an hour and a half of Hakikachu trying to do something, and Andrew just kept going back to, yes, but we don't marry our cousins. So,
I saw this one thing from Daniel Hakikachu. Is that how you say it? That's where the Pikachu comes from. Got it. So Daniel Pikachu, he said essentially like, what did he say? Religion is for low IQ people, and it was like, did you really just say that?
Yeah, and so Andrew Wilson's argument was, yes, and the reason you're all so low IQ is because you keep marrying each other. So marrying your family members. So you could easily just go back to that, and it would just be a spin. What was that?
I'm sure he has a point. I mean, there must be something to it.
Totally. And then
Yep.
lastly, any chance we could get like a formalized weekly session with yourself and Sarah? Because they're the best.
I don't know why you guys like her so much. I wanna dump anytime I see her, I just want to skip her. But you guys, every time I post a video on her,
Yeah, you're giving them what they want, apparently.
Well, it's because
Sarah.
the points are like the points that you're making are coming across incredibly well to the people who are watching, but she's so blind to it, and it's just that's all it is. It's just kind of watching someone who's brainwashed just not be open to hearing reason, and it's wild. And look, and if not, maybe you could write her a reference to work at the UN.
her name actually is Sarah. The people in my Discord, which, hey, if you guys aren't in the Discord, you should join that. It's actually starting to pop off more. You guys are just having full on conversations in there. But somebody tagged me. Somebody commented on the YouTube video where they tagged the timestamp. It was like 5 minutes and 30 seconds in, where I didn't catch it, but her roommate goes something like, "Hey Sarah, I'm trying to do homework or something," and so people were like, "Her name really is Sarah." I really was joking when I called her Sarah. I didn't actually know that.
That's brilliant. All right, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, have a good one. Thanks for the super chat, Dank. For a know thy enemy strategy, is it better to study the Quran or Hadith? If you had to pick one, I know that's possibly a real dumb question. No, it's not a dumb question. I think if you're really trying to understand the more extreme side of Islamism, I mean, it's not really extreme, it's just Islam, but the ones that, a lot of extreme people pull from, the Hadith. But if you're trying to just smarten yourself up on the religion, obviously I'd go with both, but start with the Quran. Just depends on what your motive is. Impresario. The Hadith are real boring. I just want to let you guys know that. When I say I've read like 15,000 Hadith, it's true, but like 95% of it is just real boring stuff. In fact, there's, in Sahih Muslim, I believe it is, there's like hundreds almost in a row that just talk about him defecating on a roof and, releasing, peeing while sitting down and shit like that. Like it's like really weird. A lot of repetition for sure. Impresario, thanks for super chat. Daniel stated in an interview that any child, regardless of her age, is ready for marriage, even if she's 4, as long as she shows maturity. Wow, that's disgusting. All right. Super weird. All right, just so everyone keeps asking what's up with my thumbnail on YouTube, it's a little clickbaity, I'm not gonna lie, but it's not at the same time. So this happened. I'll show you guys real quick, and then we'll get back into the debates. So the first things first. Anyways, I showed you guys this yesterday, if you guys were watching my live last night, about how James Fishback raised $176,000. At least in the reporting time of this campaign contributions. Florida First is his PAC. 125,000 of that came from just one guy, and I said a Pakistani citizen. Okay, just pay attention to the words, okay, because they're important. I said $125,000 of that came from one guy, a Pakistani citizen, Daniel Hassan. This is the guy that screams about AIPAC and being America First. That's all I said. You guys see it, right? You guys see it? Everyone sees it? Cool. So Daniel Hassan goes into the same guy goes into my comments. This was like an hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago, actually. He said, "I am asking you to kindly retract this libelous accusation." Now, libel is we're talking legally here. So he says, "Retract this libelous accusation of an FEC violation. I was born a U.S. citizen, which is easily confirmed. Warm regards, Daniel Hassan." I told him to eat shit, essentially. I wish he did fucking try to sue, because, again, where the fuck in here did I say you weren't a U.S. citizen? I just said you were a Pakistani citizen. By the way, it's true. Just FYI. Now, in his defense, if someone called me a Pakistani, I'd probably also consider it libel, to be fair. Except he was, notice his words here, very interesting. He puts, "I was born a U.S. citizen." Interesting. Why would you say that? Why would you read it that way? It's because he wasn't born in America. He was born in Pakistan to U.S. parents. So yes, he was born a citizen. He was also born a U.S. citizen. He was also born a Pakistani citizen. So I told him this. Right? I said, answer these 3 questions, and I'm more than happy to oblige, but first read the post one more time slowly. So I said, I'll be more than happy to retract this once you show me where, 1, I ever accused this as an FEC violation. Do you know how to read? Because again, if you guys remember the words, I'm not going to go back and forth, but if you guys remember, when the fuck did I ever say it was an FEC violation? I just said you were a Pakistani dude. 2, where I ever said you were not an American citizen. Again, do you know how to read? When the fuck did I say you weren't an American citizen? Pretty sure you're allowed to have dual citizenship. All I said was you are a Pakistani citizen. 3, generally people born in Pakistan are citizens. I looked it up. It's the Pakistani citizenship law of, I think, 1951 or 52 or something like that. If you're born in Pakistan, you are automatically a citizen. You were born in Pakistan, correct? I already know the answer. I'm just being condescending. I never once said you were not a dual citizen. I said citizen of Pakistan. So I will ask, are you by birth a citizen of Pakistan as well as American due to your parents being U.S. citizens? If you are not, I will retract, which is true. If he came out, now he'd probably be lying, but if he came out and said, I'm not actually a Pakistani citizen, I'd be like, okay, I'll retract then. No problem. I have no problem doing that. And then I posted here from like an interview he did or something. He was literally born in Pakistan before coming to the U.S. with his mother and father, Noreen and Fred. So yeah. That's it. Let's see. Has he answered? No. No answer yet. No answer. So yeah. He can eat shit, which I'm pretty sure is what they actually do in Pakistan. So for those that are wondering what's up with my thumbnail, that's it right there. He's accusing me of libel, and it's obviously bullshit. Anyways, let's get back to the debates. Fred, by the way. Fred. Anthony, what's up? One second, Namo.
Not much. Just want to stop by because I've been busy saying good job. I've been seeing all the stuff popping off all over my timeline. Quite hilarious to see people melting down in the comments. But I haven't had a chance to stop by and say hello myself. So
How have you been?
Dude. Yeah, have you been?
Still working 7 days a week and getting my paychecks regularly shorted. So, I got
That
shorted
sounds illegal.
$1,000 up my Yeah, they do that. And then you get paid in a prepaid gift card.
All right, I don't want to know
Sorry, we
anymore.
messed up.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know anymore. I'd rather just have deniability. I don't want to know anymore. All right, well, have a good one, Samthony.
Yeah.
Namo, go ahead.
Hey Nick, how are you? I'll be real quick and I'll get out of your hair. I was just wondering if you've seen Tommy G's video on Israel.
The West Bank video or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. He's like I think a bigger Tyler Oliveira or something. Tommy G.
I didn't see the whole thing. A couple of lives ago we watched the intro and I debunked like 10 things in just the intro. So I was like, yeah, they're not working. I'm not dealing with this shit. It's gonna be too many fucking incorrect pieces of information. I was supposed to be on that video actually, but we couldn't work it out. We just kept missing each other. He wanted a pro-Israel guy on there. It was supposed to be me. But he ended up getting somebody else. It's not his fault. It was more mine. I was just super busy. Also, I told him I'd rather debate somebody, not play into your propaganda video.
Okay. Are you gonna make like a debunking video like you did for Mehdi Hassan or something?
Dude, isn't it like a 2-hour-long video or hour-long video?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, the Mehdi Hassan one was like a 5-minute video. It would be like a 3-4 hour long video.
True.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I
Okay,
could.
yeah,
I'll tell you what. If some of you guys want, if you want to watch the whole thing and you find 5 clips within it, like the obviously the whole video is going to be annoying, but if you find 5 like really strong things, be more than glad to kind of do a summary of the whole thing and be like, hey, these are 5 clips that I'm going to debunk. I could do that, but like, you guys want me to watch an entire hour and a half long video or whatever? Yeah, debunking something, it takes 4 times generally the amount of the video. So if it's an hour-long video plus another 4 hours of debunking, that's like 5 hours. I'm not uploading a 5-hour video, bro.
I believe in you, Nick.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Okay, have a good day, Nick.
Yeah, peace.
Can you drop me? Wait.
I got you. Everyone's just like, do it, you goy slave. Isn't that what Sneeko called me, goy slave? So it's gonna have to pay me a lot more money than that. 2K, what's up?
Hey, well, bro, what's up? Have you seen the previews for that new movie, Palestine 36?
Yeah,
Is it called? You seen that? What'd you think about that?
not much. I just saw the previews.
You saw who's producing it, right?
I honestly, I don't care, dude. I mean, if you want, you can tell me real quick, but this is hardly a conversation worth having.
Okay. Well, I'll just ask you the other question then.
You're asking me who produced it. Like, why do I care?
I mean, everybody knows him in Hollywood's kind of.
Sure. What's his name?
Hollywood's kind of. What's
Sure.
his
What's
name?
his name? Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, okay. The fact that someone had to tell you tells me not everyone knows him. Somebody had to just, I heard someone having to tell you.
I forgot his name. I know who he is and what the movies he's been on. Right?
That's awesome. Yeah. Listen, I believe in freedom of expression. If people want to make a movie, go for it. I don't know what you're asking of me right now. Like, yes, I support people making movies. Yes.
Right, but so based off.
I don't think that's it. That's all I think. If you ask me like beyond that, I don't think much more than that. People can make videos. I really don't care.
Okay, well, let me ask you the second question. Who cuts your hair, bro? They need
Jesus fucking Christ. All right.
They need to be fucking lost.
Why the fuck do you guys are all so gay, dude?
That's a lot. I need to seriously.
Jesus fucking Christ. They're so fucking stupid, dude. You guys come up here. Don't waste my time.
He always comes up and tries to like hurt your feelings every time. So.
Yeah, it's just stupid, dude. You guys aren't gonna hurt my feelings. You guys are fucking Muslims and Pakistanis and shit. Like, dude, we're not the same. I don't fucking care. Just don't waste my time. That's ironically, I get more offended at the wasting of my time than you not liking my haircut or whatever. Corey's, go ahead.
Sure. I'm curious. You think leftism is? Oh, am I echoing? Hold on.
Not really. Not on my end.
For me, I was sorry about that. You think leftism is the biggest issue facing us? I kind of agree with like leftist economics. I was wondering if you have any thoughts on that.
Biggest? I mean, I didn't put biggest, but yeah, I do think it's a big problem.
Two big problems for the world: leftism and Islam. So.
Right, you read it correctly that time, not the first time. But
okay,
yeah,
dude,
that's why I wrote it.
Seriously, biggest versus big. Seriously, dude,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But...
Okay, sure. I mean, no, it's completely different, but fine. It's not that big a deal. What I'm saying is, are you asking me, do I agree with that? That's yes, of course. That's why I wrote it.
No, I'm saying I support leftist economics. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on like leftist economics.
Sure. Why do you support leftist economics? And can you be more specific? Different leftists answer different ways in the specifics.
Sure. I just think capitalism as it stands today in America is like an outdated mode of production.
Okay, so what makes it outdated?
Well, it's outdated in that, it produces harms that are not accounted for in like, the decision making of the market.
You think it produces harms because it's outdated? I mean, things that are new can also produce harms, and things that are whatever you define as outdated, I'm not going to get into the specifics of that, at least not right now, but it can also be very good. So can you tell me why it's outdated?
Why is capitalism outdated? Yeah. Well, I think there's other economies that are progressive to ours that are doing better.
Okay, like
so
what?
We should move. I think, China's economy, Norway's economy, these are pretty good examples.
No, tell me an economic system, not country, like economic system.
I would say state capitalist monopoly, which is a form of socialism.
Okay, can you expand on that?
Yeah, I would say, nationalizing the strategic sectors of an economy would be a good thing, and as opposed to leaving it in the hand of the private sector, and which leads to like high speculation, high
just real quick,
financialization.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't mean to interrupt, but when I say expand, I'm trying to get you to get more specific, and you keep just making general vague stuff and saying I think it's better. Maybe I should be more specific with my question for you. Can you explain why? Like, I understand what private versus nationalizing something is. You don't have to explain that to me. And I'm sorry if I made it seem that that's what I was asking. I'm asking you to. You're not. Well, you just keep saying kind of the same thing again and saying I think it's very good. I understand you think it's very good. Can you tell me why you think it's very good? Why
Oh
it's
yeah, well,
better?
because for
There we go.
example, in our country right now, we subsidize these strategic sectors that are left into the private hands, and then we essentially socialize the losses, and then they privatize the gains. And if we basically collected these gains into like a sovereign wealth fund like Norway has, that would be, beneficial to the country.
Okay, again, you're doing it again. You're just kind of saying the same system again in different words and saying you think it'll be beneficial.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask one more time before I move on. Can you tell me why it would be better? Like, get specific on why it would be better. I understand you're against what we have now. I'm not trying to change your mind. I don't think I will. I don't think maybe necessarily to change mine, but maybe we can find some kind of things. And I'm like, hey, that's a good point,
Okay.
though. So I'm going to
just
ask
simply
one more
think-
time. 1 second, almost done.
Yeah.
So one more sentence.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask one more time. Can you get specific on why instead of just saying, I think it'll be better, which you've said every single time I've asked you to get more specific? I know you think it'll be better. I got that.
I'll try to. I think I'm explaining myself, but I'll try to be.
You're
very
not. You
specific
just keep
with-
saying the same system
Okay,
again in
well, I'm
different
trying to
words,
explain.
and then you're
I'm
saying,
trying
I
to
think it'll be
explain.
better.
Okay.
All right, maybe
Well,
try better.
I can give an example. For example, the
I'm not asking for
pharmaceutical
an
industry,
example.
which
I'm not asking. Okay.
so I can't even provide my justification with an example.
I don't
So
understand what's confusing about my question. Okay, go ahead, give your example. Maybe it'll help.
if we, for example, nationalize something like the pharmaceutical industry, that would be optimal for a lot of Americans that can't afford certain medicines or where there's underdevelopment
You just did it
in certain
again.
medicines.
You just did it again. Okay, Corey's, I'm going to ask you to solidify your argument and maybe come back in 30 minutes because you just did the exact same thing again. You said
Wait, do
something
you
about the
disagree, though?
system. It's first off, it doesn't matter if I do or don't. Right now, I'm trying to establish, because I don't know who you are. So to have this debate, I'm trying to establish what you understand so I don't put words in your mouth. And you just did it again. And I'm going to explain what you did again. And I'm going to ask if you agree that you did this. Okay, you just, once again, explain something of a system that you like better, which I already know you like better, and you end with saying, I think it'll be beneficial for the person or the country or whatever. You just keep doing that. I already
because
know
it
you
would
think
lead
it'll be
to
beneficial.
It would lead to cheaper drug prices as opposed to, like, letting that profit just go into paying, investors in a company.
Okay, I mean, that's a little bit more specific. You haven't told me how
That's exactly
yet.
what I said about the pharmaceutical industry.
Kind of. Okay, this is what you're doing, okay? You're saying this will be better, and therefore I think it'll be better. I know you think it'll be better. I'm telling you how specifically does it make it better.
Do I need to give like an epistemic justification as to why
I'm not asking for a justification. I'm asking for the argument and the evidence in the claim, right? Well, not in that order, actually. I'm asking for that. I'm not asking for you to tell me why you think it's, or not why. I'm asking why. I'm not asking for you to tell me you think it's better. I already know you think it's better. I got that. But you're not telling me how it will be better. Like details, like specificity, like, hey, it actually gets better because the economic terms, macroeconomics, microeconomics, whatever you want to go with, or both, and explain it. And then I'll ask questions, because you might be right. It's not like I know every single economic system, and nor will I pretend to, even though there's a lot of people online that try to pretend they know it all. No, I don't, and I'd be more than glad to hear. But right now, all you're telling me is, hey, Nick, I think this will be better because it's better. Okay?
From the perspective of someone that doesn't own, like, the means of productions in a company, certainly doesn't own anything in like a pharmaceutical industry, it will be better for them to have cheaper drug prices as opposed to the surplus value from those pharma companies being just paid back to shareholders. It would be much better for that to be reinvested into R&D, and then that would lead to
Just
lower
real quick,
drug prices.
I was talking about economics as a total. So is this only for drug prices, or is your system first off, you still haven't told me what system we're going with here. Did you say communism? I actually don't know. You said, you said nationalistic. Can you repeat what you said earlier? I can't remember.
State-led capitalism, as a monopoly.
Okay, so it's essentially
which is a form of socialism,
right? Yeah. Okay, so you're trying to push towards a specific but overall socialist system, and so it's not just for pharmaceuticals. Sectors, yeah. Can you please just let me finish, please? So it's not just pharmaceuticals. I'm talking about overall, because by the way, you and I might maybe not agree on the system of what we should do differently, but you and I probably agree on there's a lot of things that we should do to help the pharmaceutical system. I actually agree with that. I think I have different opinions. I think we should cancel out like cross-border taxing, right, for specifically pharmaceuticals. I think we should do that. That has nothing to do with socialism or even nationalizing anything. I do agree that there should be some kind of regulations on people who, like the EpiPen CEO, 1 year I think increased, don't quote me, but I think they increased the price like 1,000% over the year, didn't change anything about the product. I think stuff like that should be regulated. Again, that's not particularly socialism. Hold on one sec.
So you just want the state to intervene for like market externalities or something?
Not particularly. Can you do me a favor? Can you talk with Hebrew Hammer for a little bit? I'm taking an important call. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I don't know if you have a contention, Hebrew Hammer, so.
I got here a little late, so I don't know what the point. I know you're talking about pharmaceuticals, but I don't know what the.
Yeah, I'm just arguing that we should move away from the mode of capitalism that we have in America today.
Why would anyone invent anything new without the profit incentive?
Most R&D in the country today is funded by the public sector.
But it's funded because a company pitched them an idea. Return, of course.
So I could even continue on with the pharmaceutical example. Most drugs today, the early stages of development are almost never done by the private sector. They're almost always done by the public sector because
Who
that is
created the drug?
Mostly public universities, yeah.
No, who creates the actual drug? No university is putting out Ozempic or Lipitor.
Well, yeah, companies come in and they patent drugs that are already developed and tested by the public sector.
And they do that why? Why do they do that?
Well, they do that to expand profit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can come up with a lot of ideas, but unless you have the capital and the profit motive behind it, there's a lot of people with great ideas.
Yeah, but if you have that profit motive, that's going to lead to suboptimal outcomes for the society.
Not at all. The problem isn't the profit motive. The problem is the cost of getting a drug to market. And that combined with the limited patent time frame that drug companies have to recoup their costs before generics can come in and undercut them is why they have to spend so much money on marketing, because they only have a limited time frame with which to make their money back.
But capitalists in America today argue for those patents, and they use the same argument that you do.
I didn't argue for or against it. I'm just stating a fact.
Well,
it is a fact that drug companies have a limited time frame to recoup the cost.
I mean, the patents are an issue, but the most important, riskiest, and expensive part of any drug development is always going to be the early trials, and that's almost always done by public universities.
You have to have a drug before you can get to the trials.
No. I'm talking about like actual drug development and trials. That actually happens at the public sector, and then private companies come in and they pay to basically patent it. And then
right, but again, they're only doing it because they can make money off it.
Yeah,
if you want the drugs to get to, if you want the drugs to actually get to market and out of the developmental stage, there has to be a profit motive for it. You know, 9 out of every 10 drugs.
Why is that the case?
Because no one will risk capital to produce something unless they're going to get a return on investment.
I mean,
you come to me. You're like, dude, Hammer, I have a amazing drug that is going to help bald people like you grow your hair back. And I'll be like, dude, that'd be great. You know, I would love to have some hair. Okay. How do we get that to the market?
Listen, there's always going to be a surplus for all of these drugs being produced. It's a matter of where those surpluses are redistributed. Are they going to be shared back?
How do we get that to the market? I know what you're saying, but you didn't answer my question. How do we get that to the market? Me and you. You've got a great idea, and I have the capital. How do we get that to the market?
I'm unaware of, like, you know, how to develop drugs like that or get that into the market.
Is it going to cost me money to do so?
Yeah. Ideally,
why would I give you the money?
Hold on, let me
why would I
finish
give
my
you the money?
sentence. let me finish my sentence though. Ideally, individuals like me and you that don't own factories or manufacturing or anything like that, it's going to be extremely unlikely for us to ever do that. And that's why state-led directives are capable of doing that, because they can print money and, you know, essentially organize these type of directives.
Well, printing money just leads to inflation. I think we should have learned that lesson in the last 4 years. But again, if you want something to get to the market and be mass produced, and you need factories and workers and all the different parts of the supply chain, you're going to need capital. And if you want capital, you're going to have to get a return on that investment.
So the private sector is capable of doing it, but the public sector isn't?
Correct. The public sector is incapable, because the public sector there's no necessity for the public sector to worry about costs. You think drugs are expensive now? You take the private sector out and you make it a public sector item, it's going to cost way more, because there's more inefficiency when it comes to public spending than when it comes to private spending. Private spending, they have to be more efficient because they want to maximize profits. So you don't want to waste.
I mean, that's patently false, because I mean, I could probably pull up half a dozen economic studies that show that the surplus value being extracted from the medicines, it's rarely being developed into R&D. It's just going to financialization, you know, payments to like shareholders and such. So when you're getting a drug,
there's more to the story that you're not
acknowledging. When you're getting a drug, you're not actually getting the efficient price of the drug. You're basically paying for shareholder value.
Okay, I'll explain to you why. 9 out of 10 drugs don't get approved. So 90% of the drugs that pharmaceutical, 9 out of 10 do not get past the FDA approval stage. It costs $1 billion per drug to get to the FDA trial stage. So how do they recoup those costs from the failures? They have to recoup it from the successes, obviously, or they go out of business.
So you just contradicted yourself, because you said that the public sector is not involved in this, and it seems like the public sector vastly is important in terms of
how is the public sector going to? They'll run into the same thing, but they don't care because they could just print money.
I just have a quick question. I was kind of listening as you guys were speaking. Sorry, it's tax day, and that was my CPA. I fucking love that guy. Yeah, he got me. I love my CPA.
I filed my taxes at the
Jewish
beginning of March.
Or that's a joke. That's a joke.
That's just a joke. I pay my taxes to the Jews. That's true. If I get a refund, I give it straight to Israel. I know what you're asking. It was a joke. No, his name's no. I don't think so.
I'll bet you pay more state taxes. I'll bet you pay more state income tax than I do.
I bet you're right. California's not fun to live in. Anyways, so real quick,
what are you doing in California? That's crazy.
I'm an engineering inspector, and I'm the only person in like a 5-hour radius that can sign off specific things, so I have to be here for now. Very important, man. Anyways, so you keep saying, you said it to me earlier, you said it to him just now, you kept saying like the money just goes to stockholders. What percentage of the overall amount of money for, let's call it, a major pharmaceutical company? I'm not asking for an exact number, just generally, what percentage goes to stockholders as payments or tips or whatever you're saying?
I would, I know you're not asking for an exact percentage, but I would assume at least 40 to 50% of the surplus value that's, you know, made with pharmaceuticals is going to like those, like, you know, stock buyback options and shareholders. Yeah.
Wait, you're saying
stock
they're taking
options? That doesn't happen that often.
Also, you believe, okay, if you were going to say like 5%, I'd believe in good faith, but if you think it's 50%, I'm gonna have to ask you to source that. That's insane.
Who are the shareholders?
By the way, if you're right, I think I might actually have some understanding where you're coming from. I still don't believe in a lot of the things you're saying, but that would make sense. But you're gonna have to source if you think it's 50% or even 40%.
I would assume so, considering the cost to make.
Don't assume. When you assume, you're just guessing. Don't guess. If you don't know, it's better to not know. But who are these shareholders of these companies? Eli Whitney, Pfizer.
I just asked ChatGPT, and
I'm
not
gonna taking AI as an answer. Just get the source and tell me what the source says. Yeah, of course. I use ChatGPT too. I'm just saying, don't. Hey, ChatGPT, what's this real quick? And then it tells you. Just, you know what? I have a quick story about that. It was funny. When I was on the Jubilee debate, I argued with somebody outside. He's this Catholic, like anti-Zionist. He's running for Congress. But anyways, he was arguing with me, and then he started arguing with this Protestant guy. And he said that most Republicans were against the war in Iran. He's like, what are you talking about? It's not true. There was a study that was just done, a polling that was just done says the majority were actually for it. And he used ChatGPT. And this was the reason I'm bringing this up is because I tell people all the time, if you're going to use ChatGPT, make sure you get the source and actually look at it, because sometimes it'll give you a source and it's still wrong. The reason is because he asked ChatGPT what percentage of Republicans are against it, blah, blah, blah. And it said 58% were against it. And so, and it provides a source. And he's like, see, it says 58%. And we're like, click the source. He's like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to click the source. It says it right there. And it provides a source. He clicks the source. And it turns out it pulled from a table in the source. It did say 58%, but it wasn't the Republicans. It was like the Democrats, or maybe it was independents and Democrats or something like that combined. And he had to learn the hard way. Do not use AI to find out information that is, especially when it's information about specific percentages and stuff, because it almost always gets it wrong.
Who are the shareholders of these companies that benefit from high stock prices? Who owns these shares?
Private firms.
Who else?
I don't know, dude. You want me to list people out? I mean,
No,
Martin
I'm wondering,
Shkreli.
like, do you think nurses, union pensions, do you think they own any pharmaceuticals?
Yeah. That's,
Teachers? What about
it's a
teacher
big-
unions? Do you think they
it's
own any
a-
pharmaceuticals?
The largest lobbying, the largest lobbying organizations in the country are doing this for the nurses, who own like.
No, they don't need to lobby for it. It's a good investment, and pensions invest.
This is like almost unbelievable. I almost don't even believe it myself, but I am reading it. According to a paper titled U.S. Pharma's Financialization Business Model, between 2009 and 2018, they quantified 18 of the top pharma companies. Total profits was $588 billion in profits.
Awesome. That's great.
Buybacks, $335 billion in buybacks, and $287 billion in dividends.
Well,
meaning their
buybacks-
total payouts.
Dividends,
Wait,
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah, dividends is great. That's a good thing. The buybacks is not particularly. It's not what you were originally saying before, at least, or maybe I misunderstood you. You made it sound
No,
like
it's
they were
not what
just
he's saying.
okay. That's what I thought, because it sounded like you were saying like they were just giving money to their shareholders. If it's getting
Dividends
reinvested,
is good, it's good to have a dividend. It's good for the average consumer.
How else do shareholders get paid if not through dividends and buybacks?
So real
They
quick,
get
someone in the
paid
chat
when they
is-
sell their stock. When they sell the stock.
Someone in the chat looked up Pfizer. It says the return on equity last year was 8.8%. Yeah, that sounds a lot more closer. 50% sounded like bullshit, but 8.8%,
Whoa.
that sounds about right.
Wait, what was the exact stat that you just said?
8.8% for return on equity for Pfizer specifically.
I mean, return on equity is much different from what percentage of your profit is actually going to R&D versus just financialization.
But that's not what you were talking about originally. You weren't talking about profits going to R&D versus that's not what you were talking about.
That is exactly what I'm talking about, because my whole
That's not what
point
you
is
said.
that when
You said
are
money just
buying-
going to stockholders. That's what you said.
when you are buying a drug, an unhealthy amount of that value that you're paying is not actually going to the drug or the drug development. It's actually just going to the profits of the shareholders.
That's awesome.
And other financialization.
That's great.
Well, I'm not particularly against that, but stock.
Source that I brought up, 106% of the net income is basically financialized.
Again, this is different. Like, first off, you brought up stock buybacks, which I don't see why that's even compared to what you were saying earlier. Stock buybacks is just when the company buys its outstanding shares, and then dividends is a very good thing. I don't know why you're against that. So I'm not particularly understanding what else did you bring up other than money going to shareholders, because that doesn't seem as significant as you made it sound. There was other things you brought up though.
Not significant that 106% of the top 18 pharma companies' net income is going to financialization in stocks.
Again, reinvesting into the company.
Yeah.
That's not at all the same thing as giving money to stockholders for them to do, I guess, willy-nilly with it. If it's going back into the economy, that's how the economy gets stimulated. I don't see what the problem with that is. Can you give me the source of what you're reading right now, just out of curiosity, so I can read it with you?
Yeah. Pull it up here. Sorry. U.S. Pharma's financialization business model.
One sec. U.S. Pharma's financial business model, you said?
Financialized business model, according to Institute of New Economic Thinking.
Okay. I think I have it. July 2017. Is that the one?
Yeah. And even if, let's say that
Where does it say the 106% thing? Real quick before we move on, just so I can read it while you speak.
Okay, I'm just looking at a
Okay.
breakdown of it here.
Because I'm looking it up right now. I don't see. Let me control F. Yeah, there's nothing that says 106% in the full paper, which is 21 pages long.
Buybacks and dividends
29,
amounted to 106% of the 18 companies' combined profits.
Dividends.
Oh, my bad. Financialization of the U.S. pharmaceutical industry. Same institute.
Okay, because I was about to say that doesn't show it. Okay, what is it called then? You said financial.
Financialization of the U.S. pharmaceutical industry.
Okay. This is the December 2019 one?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and 2% of total revenues was reported as research and development.
Again,
for 406,
I don't see what
466 companies.
That doesn't bother me at all. That's not what we're talking about. I hear what you're saying. I assume that's true.
That doesn't
what you're
bother
saying,
you?
but
Okay.
it's just no. It's not about it bothering me or not. I'm saying for this specific claim that you're making
just
and what we're
responding to
trying
what
to
you
go
said.
down. When did I say anything about?
You said it doesn't bother you. So I just said I was surprised by that.
No, I didn't say that. I said it doesn't bother me for the topic we're talking about right now. We can talk about it. That bothers me overall, but I'm saying changing the subject and trying to like pull away from our actual conversation, that's not my concern right now. That's what I said.
In proportion to other companies at 17%. Okay. But regardless, the meta point that I'm trying to make here is that if an industry like this were nationalized, that would lead to more profits just being put back into research and development, and we could have more control over these drug prices and just lower them.
Wait, based off of who? Like, how does it become more into R&D? Right now, America and the pharmaceutical industry and medical technology and just medicine in general, we have by far the most shared research in the world. And that's generally attributed to, if you look at most studies, it's generally attributed to private funding, charity, etc. And it's not even close. I think if you take like the next 5 countries combined, we still have more shared research that we share across the world, right? So you're saying it'd be even better if we nationalized it.
I have no contention with what you're saying, except for the fact that it's
that's because it's private and not nationalized. If we nationalize it, what stops us from being generally the same number as all these other countries that are nationalized?
My contention with you is not that. My contention is with your statement in saying that it's because of the private sector. And it's not because of the private sector. The riskiest, most expensive, and really the most important part of any drug development is always going to be early trials and early development, and the private sector doesn't touch it for the most part.
I didn't say the private sector was the one doing it. I said the private sector putting funding in via charity, grants, etc. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about...
Yeah, they will do that in the later stages after public universities.
No, that's not true. It actually, but that still helps them throughout the whole process. It's not them putting it in. First off, I'd have to look it up to see if you're right that they only put in money for the later stages. I don't think that's true. I think they write checks for the overall funding, even for future drugs and future medicine. Future
we could just
medical.
Check it out right now. What percentage of drugs?
But the problem is, before you do that, even if that was true, which again, I know for a fact that it's not always true. Again, sometimes they put in money for overall research before something's even in the early stages. So I don't agree that it's only allowed to use this money for later research later stages. I really don't believe that at all. But even if it was, right, I want to make this clear, even if that was true, which it's not, it doesn't matter, because even if it saves money for the long run, it actually still helps out for early stages for future drugs.
Well, the issue is when you look at the numbers of how much of that profit is going to produce new drugs, it's a fairly low percentage. So if we expand the public sector in this industry, maybe we could even be doing better than what it's already doing now.
Again, you have to make that argument. I also want to make it clear that we didn't start off talking about just pharmaceuticals. Again, I think there are some problems. I don't like your solutions, but I'm not again saying that there are problems. I already gave you a couple things that I think you and I already agreed with that I would do. What we talked about generally is why socialism would be better than capitalism, which you defined as an outdated economic system. Yeah, which we're not even true capitalist country anyway, but I get you.
Well, I mean, if you ask most economists and you ask them what capitalism is, everyone will give you a different answer. I'm specifically against the crony capitalism that we have in America. And for all intents and purposes, that is capitalism. Capitalism today does depend on the government. These, industries that I do want to truly nationalize, they are quasi-nationalized, and they already rely on public subsidies. They rely on tax breaks and all sorts of, cash injections from the government, just like General Motors in 2008.
Yeah, I don't think we should be subsidizing like large corporations. I'm against a lot of monopolies. So again, that's not anti-capitalist.
Wait, just a quick question on that. So were you against what we did with General Motors in 2008?
What did we do with General Motors in 2008?
Well, we did a massive cash injection to basically save the industry. And
right, subsidy. We subsidized it.
And in exchange, we basically nationalized them. We owned like a large percentage of their stocks for a short amount of time.
Did we subsidize them?
Subsidize them, and in exchange, we nationalize them.
Yeah, I'm against that. I'm against bailouts, regardless if it's because you're trying to nationalize them after or not.
You would have let General Motors fail.
Yeah, I don't believe in bailouts. I don't think we should be doing bailouts.
So tens of millions of people, would have lost their jobs.
I think that the free market should play out, and the free market will increase other jobs in other ways, because as General Motors goes away, it's going to naturally be replaced by the demand that we as a country have. So I understand you think that might sound harsh, but again, make your argument. Are you for bailouts? Are you for bailouts?
No, I'm not.
Oh, so you agree with me? Why are you arguing with me right now? Wait, that is a bailout. Wait, hold on. That is a bailout. Unless you described it wrong, but what you just described in 2008, I was 16 at the time, so I wasn't really paying that much attention to economics, to be fair. But what you just described, that was a bailout. So you are against that. So therefore you agree with me.
I am against a bailout because I think they should be nationalized to begin with. If they're nationalized to begin with, there's no need for a bailout. But obviously, if we're living in
actually not true either.
If we're living in an economy that we live in now, and you have a company like General Motors, which millions of people depend on jobs for it, and it's a large percentage of our economy.
Will it not be replaced by something else? I'm confused. Why would you support bailing them out? Are we just going to get rid of the demand that General Motors supplied? No, of course not. The demand still exists. So the free market will build up new jobs, maybe not extremely large monopolies that when they fail, we have to provide an extreme amount of bailout or nationalize it like you're trying to do. Maybe it'll be replaced by a more successable company that's just as large, if not maybe more successful companies.
This is a genuine question. It's not like a gotcha. Do you think waiting for the private sector, to come up with a company to fill those jobs, do you think that is more or less efficient than the government just saving the company and end up being profitable?
I am against bailouts. I think they're a disaster. I think they may provide some short-term relief, like you're saying, but overall, I think they're a disaster.
Is it more or less efficient?
Again, short-term, more. Long-term, less. I'm pretty sure I just answered that. I'm pretty sure I just answered that exactly. Because I just explained it. Long-term efficiency is less. I just explained it. I don't know what's confusing.
I am having a tracking error, sir. Can you explain to me why the long-term implications of the General Motors bailout?
Because the short-term, first off, I wouldn't even use the word efficient, even short-term. Short-term relief, I'll say, is because, like you said, tens of millions of people won't lose their job. There'll probably be a significant amount that lose their job, but not all of them will lose their job. And look at that. We used an extreme amount of money and taxpayer money and et cetera to bail out this company that put itself in that position in the first place. Obviously, sometimes there might be extenuating circumstances, but for the most part, it's because of a failed. For example, would you be in favor of bailing out Boeing?
If it was necessary to save jobs, and yeah,
even with their failed, even with their failed system, which I don't know if you saw the congressional hearing with the Boeing CEO.
I am ignorant, so I don't.
Okay, so this is the problem with people like you, right? And by the way, there's a lot of conservatives that kind of agree with you sometimes. I've seen some conservatives support bailing out these big companies. I have no idea why they fucking do that. It's insane. But this isn't a long-term negative effect. So even short-term, again, I wouldn't even use the word efficient. I would say short-term relief, because people like you are panicans, right? You guys panic, and instead of waiting for the free market to actually take its place and its role as it should, which would create a long-term efficiency, you would rather just have the government daddy bail these companies out.
couple points you guys are
I
leaving
still
out.
didn't really hear the argument for why
I'll give you
long-term
the
the General
argument.
Motors buyout was
I'll tell
ineffective.
you, very simple, because the Obama administration upended our entire system of bankruptcy and contract law by forcing the bondholders who were senior lien holders to take 10% on the dollar, even though they had a senior position,
I mean, that's
and hand it
true,
over. No, that is 100% true.
Yeah, I just said it's true. Yeah.
Which the bondholders were the people that gave money to the capital, that gave the capital that the company needed to keep those jobs. They got 10 cents on the dollar for doing nothing wrong. And the money flow and the power went down to the unions. The thing is, if you don't bail out the company, it doesn't necessarily mean you lose jobs. Just because you go into bankruptcy doesn't mean you stop operating. You stop operating the same way you were operating, but bankruptcy in a case of like something like GM would have been to their benefit because it would have canceled their ridiculously bad union contracts, which is the reason GM went under, because those contracts were unsustainable. The pension, the medical, the family coverage.
Hold on.
That's why they should have gone bankrupt.
It became unsustainable because the banks were giving out loans to people that couldn't pay them back.
Well, no, that's part of it.
You don't think that was the driving factor? The credit system
the driving
froze
factor was
in
the labor
2008.
costs are always the driving factor in any big business. Labor costs are always the number one cost.
Good.
But it's not good when you're not making a profit, when you're not selling enough cars, when your product is junk and no one wants to buy it.
And this is why people are socialists. Dude.
Well,
There's
real
always
quick.
going to be a
Well,
constant.
no, I think they're
People are
socialists.
socialists because they're lazy and dumb.
I have a question. Let's go back to like the generic. One second. We're not getting anywhere with this. I want to go back to like just the generic questioning of this capitalism, the way we run it in the United States, and state-run system. I'm sorry, I can't remember. You said state nationalized system. Is that what you said?
State-led capitalism monopoly.
Yeah. State-led capitalism. Okay, I'm not going to say monopoly because it doesn't necessarily have to be a monopoly. But anyways,
it can't be capitalism if it's state-led because it's not a free market because the state
I'm not arguing
determines.
for capitalism. Yeah,
you said
well,
state-led.
You did. You called it capitalism. So, anyways, let me ask you something. I'm just going to call it a state-run system
it's
because
capitalism
it doesn't.
In the sense that there's markets. That's it.
No, that's
a
ridiculous.
Free
that's
market.
That's not what capitalism means. But we're not getting anywhere with this. So in a capitalism, do you agree with I'm trying to keep it very generic. Do you agree with the idea just like if a business succeeds, owners, workers, investors benefit? If a business fails, they lose money / go bankrupt. Is that a very general, fair statement for capitalism?
From a capitalist perspective? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So can you tell me in a state-run system, right? We both agree that managers won't personally gain much from success in a state-run system, but what is it when they have such a severe loss due to failure or whatever? How does it work?
Your question is, how do you handle market failure in a socialist system?
It doesn't have to even just market failure, it can be company failure, but sure, it can be market failure as well, but I don't want to get harped on, I don't want to like get specific on just market failure, but sure, that too.
I mean, companies fail all the time, and
what happens in your state-led
system?
In your state-run system, how does it happen? Or what happens, excuse me?
In a state-led system, if there is a company that fails, and it fails for reasons of corruption of its own doing, it does deserve to fail.
I'm not talking about
no. It fails because it sucks.
Right. I'm not talking about corruption. I'm not talking about extraneous circumstances where someone was stealing or embezzling money or any of that. No. I'm just talking about it's just failing because it's just not a good company, whatever the case might be. That's not corruption or some crazy
demand for the product. There's not a sufficient demand for the product to make it profitable.
So can you answer before? Yes. Can you answer?
Then absolutely, that company shouldn't exist if there's no demand for.
But that's not in a state. But that's not what happens. That's not what happens in a state-run system. In a state-run system, losses are generally often covered by the taxpayer, and that's what I'm saying. You agree with that,
dude? There's plenty of car companies in China, which is a fairly state-owned enterprise economy, that have went under and they no longer exist anymore, and they've been replaced by.
I have to look into
companies.
that, but I'm not talking about China right now. I'm talking about under your state-run system where you're nationalizing all of these markets.
Well, my idea is China, so yeah.
Okay, so do you understand what China does with Hong Kong?
What do they do?
Okay, so China, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's just
I
China.
can't
The
read your
reason,
mind, so you got to tell me what you're
well,
talking about.
it's not my mind. If I say Hong Kong, you should know exactly what I mean. Would you say Hong Kong is a state-run system or socialism or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Well, it's not. What are you talking about? In fact, the reason they
Why
stay
is
up
it-
is they use, in fact, in these areas, I don't know if it's just there, but in certain areas in China, to include there for sure, they actually have such a high free market. Like it actually
Right.
puts
So
our,
what they have.
I think
So
something
there's
pretty
a really
important for the free
there's a
market
really
is
wonderful book by Coase. His name's I think Roland Coase, called How China Became Capitalist.
right.
And the idea is that China wanted to remain communist, but they couldn't do that and be globally competitive. So they created a bunch of special economic zones and special governance zones.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And within those zones, there is extreme free market capitalism, and then the so-called communist society gets to benefit from it while cordoning it off into these special separate zones.
Can you
Yeah.
buy private property in Hong Kong and then sell it off as speculation?
Well, again, we're talking about markets right now. I can look into
Well,
that,
I
but
think-
we're kind of
What does that
shifting
have to do
the
with
right. We're
According
talking
to capitalists and objectivists,
China-
the right
wait
to
a second.
private
Listen,
property
I can-
is the most
China
important
is-
thing
this
for
is
your
this is
model.
this is a shift of conversation. Yeah.
It's
This
not.
Yeah, if
It's
China
not.
is your
Private
model,
property
that's
is
awesome.
integral to the free market.
No, if China's your model for how to run an economy, that's great. But I hope you don't complain about the sweatshops where they have 8-year-olds stitching soccer balls for 42 cents a day. Because
I don't
that's what
think
they
that's
use
okay.
for their labor force, for their manufacturing and all the exporting. They use essentially slave labor, child labor to put out their that's why they can sell products.
we have slave labor in America.
No
so
one's
I don't see
making what the
issue.
kids in the soccer ball shops are making.
Okay, I
Sorry.
want to get back to the conversation I was trying to have before we shifted to all the. Listen, there's a billion different topics we can talk about that's still within
This is an interesting
economics.
convo,
So
I
just give me
can't
a.
lie. This is an interesting
It is
convo.
interesting, but I want to maintain like the conversation in the right direction. Obviously, we can shift to a bunch of topics that are still within economics, but people only do that when they're like their narrative isn't going their way. So they're like, well, let's talk about property now. Let's talk about, like, I don't want to do that. Okay. We can later, but let's stick with markets right now. So that's why I said Hong Kong. I'm surprised you didn't know about this. I didn't know there was more economic zones. So thank you, Bracha. But yes, this is what I'm talking about. What they do is they benefit, and it kind of shows the failure of communism or the China system, because they realized that they had to do this because they were losing global economic power. And so they realized they had to do this. And by the way, the free market they have in these zones actually puts ours to shame. I'm not even saying I agree with it. I think it's a little, I love free market, but I think there needs to be some kind of common sense regulations they don't have in China, kind of like what Hebrew was saying. But I'm not here to talk about that. What I'm saying is that if China's market, what you thought it was, because you didn't know shit about Hong Kong, so what you thought it was 5 minutes ago, why did you think that was such a good system? And if it is, why did they need to do these
I'm
economic
not
zones?
really seeing the exact example. Obviously, the markets are strong in Hong Kong, but I'm not seeing an example of where there's no CCP control over those markets. And quite frankly, you could fact check me on this. 60 to 70% of like China's GDP is generated by state-owned enterprises. And a
Yeah, where
similar
are you reading
percentage
that?
of-
Where are you reading that?
I'm sure I could pull that up.
I mean, it's still a pretty low percentage.
Yeah,
actually.
using slave labor.
I was just gonna say it doesn't really help your argument very much, because 60% shows that your argument still falls apart. But I would be curious to know where you got it
So
from.
if 68% of their GDP was generated by state-owned enterprises, that wouldn't
Yeah, think
sway
about
you
what you're
anyway.
saying. Hong Kong's very, very small. I don't know all the economic zones, but it makes up a small percentage of all of China. So if a tiny percentage is making up, I'm just doing math here, 32%, because you said 68% was...
At least 68, 70%, something
Okay,
like that.
let's call it 70 for easy number. So that means 30% is being 30% of the GDP comes from a fraction of the percentage of all of China. Think about what you're saying.
That's a fairly nationalized sector, I would say.
The point is
Nationalized
that
economy.
the point is
nationalized
that it shows that the free market and capitalism is making up disproportionate amount of China's GDP per your own. Well, you haven't provided the source yet, but I'm going to assume it's correct for now until you provide it. But even if it is, 70% is made up by most of China's GDP. 30% is made up of a fraction of the percentage of all of China. So that proves my point.
Like I said, this is state-led capitalism. So this
It's
is not
not in
this is not the
places.
abolishment of markets. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm
arguing
looking
for
it
the
up right
abolishment of
now.
markets.
Hong Kong is extremely free market than mainland China. They
It's not
have
state-run capitalism. Those things, though, that term doesn't mean anything. That's garbage. That doesn't mean anything. It's not what's going on.
Can you define
They
state-led
have
capitalism if it doesn't exist?
no. It's nonsense.
Okay.
They
So it's
oppose one
nonsense
another.
because you don't know what that means?
They inherently no. They inherently oppose one another.
What would you call an economy that has markets, that has price signals, but the government has state-owned enterprises and every major industry has like basically direction under the CCP to correct like market externalities?
well, okay.
What would you
Before
call that? Would that be
before we no
capitalism,
before you call
socialism?
No,
that,
it's communism because then obviously what the government
That would be
does
communism. So like
is it
Norway's
it
communist.
creates regulatory capture and rent seeking in favor of its organizations,
just
changes the law to give its government organizations an edge, and eventually just
okay.
buys up everything and nationalizes.
Corey's
That's what happens again and again. That's
this will be
communism.
this will be so much easier. Corey's define capitalism.
Capitalism would be the means of production being owned by private individuals, right?
Okay, so if it's not owned by private,
the incentive of profit? With the incentive of profit.
For profit, correct. So if it's not owned by private and it's owned by state, then how can it be capitalism?
Well, because there are still markets and price signals.
Yeah, but that's not what you said. You didn't say capitalism is defined by having markets and price signals. You said capitalism was defined by. I agree with most of your definition, maybe not perfectly,
China
but
is
it's
not
fine.
purely.
Right? I'm not
China's
asking
not
about. I'm
purely
not. Stop.
capitalist,
I
it's
don't
not
care about
purely
that. We are
socialist.
shifted from that. Stop changing the subject every time you're losing. What I'm asking right now is she's saying that state-led capitalism or state
Doesn't
capitalism
exist.
doesn't make sense. I'm
No, she
sure
said it
there's
doesn't
people that.
exist.
All right, if you interrupt me one more time, I'm just gonna have to move on. Stop interrupting me. It's very difficult to get this out when you keep trying to talk over me. Okay, just let me get the sentence out, dude. Just let me get it out. Anyways, no, don't unmute. Stay muted, okay? What she's saying is it doesn't make sense. I'm not saying that there's not people that will define it. What I'm saying is that if capitalism is defined as ... by private owners for profit, how can you then say that state-led capitalism makes sense when you've already admitted it's not by private owners? Okay, now you can answer.
It's not purely capitalist. It's not purely socialism. It's a mix of both.
It's not what I'm asking you.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. He's not.
Yeah,
gonna
you
answer
said
my
something
question.
about 60%
I mean,
of
I think
China's. Hold on.
I think that last sentence he said was true.
You said 60% of China's GDP was what again?
68% of China's GDP in 2023 was of their growth, I think, was led by state-owned enterprise. But I'm trying to.
So I'm
find
looking at here from Harvard EDU. It says China's private sector is often summed with a combination of four numbers: 60, 70, 80, 90. Private firms contribute approximately 60% of China's GDP, 70% of its innovation capacity, and 80% of urban employment, and 90% of new jobs.
The thing is, we can't believe anything out of
And
China.
by the way, the point in reference to the I mean, he literally debunked himself in the 80s, by the way. China essentially there's a lot of like background noise. I don't know where that's coming from.
Is anyone going to ask him for the source on that, or
He already gave the source. He literally just gave it.
Yeah, Harvard Kennedy School, Harvard EDU, Harvard Kennedy School. You can look at it.
Harvard EDU? Okay. Well, I'm on ChinaPower.org.
You're on China.
Are you fucking serious? Did you actually say that? Did you actually say that without feeling embarrassed?
You know, Sneaker was right. You do get really zesty when you.
No.
you get,
Don't
frustrated.
change the subject and start attacking. Did you actually say that? I like how he's attacking now. Dude, what the fuck? You're on China Power?
.org, Nick. .org. So it's legit.
.org.
I should have asked him originally what his source was.
Oh
No,
my
I did
God.
ask him. He never provided it. That's true. So you're telling me Harvard EDU is not good, but ChinaPower.org, that's what we should go with? China Power?
Wait, what's the issue with that?
Okay, this guy's just trolling.
All right.
No.
I'm
I
done.
want to ask if we could justify the issue with that real quick.
Shut up.
Oh man, that was funny. I just came up for that. That was hilarious.
Christ.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I wanted to tell it.
I think
Anecdotals.
Zionism's right because I'm on ZionistRules.org. What's the problem with that? I'm on freepalestine.com, so I'm pro-Palestinian. What's
Right.
wrong with that? Oh, I'm on
Yeah.
RussiaIsTheGreatest.com, and they're saying Russia like. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Yeah, it's so cool, right? It's definitely not propaganda. What a fucking idiot, dude.
I'll tell an anecdotal story. My brother-in-law used to travel to China a lot. He imported a lot of goods for his business from China, and he would tell me stories about visiting these factories in the country where, you know, they basically are paying people $3 a day. And he was telling me they don't have bathrooms in these factories, that they have holes in the ground. And when they go to the bathroom, they literally have to go shit and pee in a hole in the ground. Like, this is the economy he wants to use as the model, is where they treat their people like not quite slaves, but slave adjacent.
They
Thanks
treat
for
them like
super chat.
animals for sure.
Oh, yeah. He would tell me that he would never eat any street food, and he always made sure to take number 2 before he left the hotel, because it was, again, he was in the country with these factories and they literally had no bathrooms.
By the way, like, his whole point is debunked, because China used to have a strict centralized command economy, right, led by Xi Jinping's reform and opening up policies. The reforms introduced market principles to increase efficiency, encourage private entrepreneurship, and attract foreign investment, transforming state enterprise into profit-seeking entities. Why would China have to do, like, literally any of these things if their socialist or even communist structure actually worked and is beneficial, right?
Wait,
But
look at this panel.
the Avengers,
Avengers assemble.
the Zionist Avengers.
You guys, I got a new monitor today that can swivel to be vertical, and I am obsessed. I feel like I am in a command center right now.
Mashallah.
Moderate. Number 2 is a poop. You've never heard of a 1 and a 2? A number 2 is a poop.
Why are you showing a
Rose
TV with me?
hammer.
He keeps asking in the comment section, what's a number 2?
No, not
wait.
that. He's showing me on the TV. I'm just like, why is he
I
doing
wanted
that?
to say,
What is Hammer talking about? I'm up here for.
You put in the comments
debate.
what is a number 2, and he's telling you what a number 2 is, which I'm also shocked that
No,
you
I
don't know
did
what that
not.
is. Yeah, we can literally see the
I
comment.
don't know what he's talking about. I got him.
Thanks for the super chat, Chaim. Nick, do you believe there's extraterrestrial life? Like any life at all in the whole universe, or intelligent life?
There has to be.
Probably, I would say.
Are we not intelligent life?
I assume they're
We
talking
never got a chance to talk
real
about...
quick, Moderate, can you tell me what extraterrestrial means?
Outside of this terrestrial space.
Fucking idiot.
The guy was talking about the state economy in this, and there's a perfect story out from today that we couldn't touch on because he was quite obsessed with China. Did you see the cost of the new supermarket they're going to build in East Harlem?
No.
The Mamdani plan? Yes, they're dedicating $30 million to have this supermarket. It's going to cost. By the way, they own the land, so they don't have to buy the land. And people were posting all day. Aldi cost $3 to $5 million to start up a new market from the ground up, and they're putting $30 million to this market. Also, everything's going to be retail except a few staple items that are going to be subsidized and sold for cheaper, but they won't tell us what the staple items are. $30 million for one supermarket, and it'll still fail. And it's a mile away from Costco.
The state's going to build it?
Well, they're not going to build it. They're going to put up the money and have private contractors do it. Of course, the state can't build anything. What can the state build?
Well,
they have to hire private companies. There's no state building.
Who
What are they going to send in? The Army Corps of Engineers?
I'm saying who advocated this?
This is Mamdani's free supermarket plan.
But like he at a state level wrote up like a plan to pursue this to where the state government.
Didn't they say it's going to cost like $30 million?
$30 million, yeah.
So the state government proposes a plan and then goes and finds private contractors to agree to
Build it and operate it with government subsidies.
And it's going to be funded by taxpayer dollars?
Oh, yeah.
They don't have enough like supermarkets in New York?
No, apparently they don't.
It's so funny. Like, that's America's #1 problem is people like can't afford food. Are you kidding me? I think we have an obesity issue.
It's a mile away from Costco, so it's not even in what they call food deserts. It's not even in a food desert.
Maybe people can't afford food because gas prices are so high because Donald Trump struck Iran because Netanyahu told him to.
Exactly.
You know where it all goes back to.
Let me see if I can get more details on this supermarket. Here we go.
I'm trying to read about it as well.
I'm actually looking now. There's multiple sources, not just the Harvard one, but there's one that says state-owned enterprises accounted for over 60% of China's market capitalization. However, the estimates suggest that they generated about 23 to 28% of China's GDP, which again, if he said 68%, if he was off by a little bit, I wouldn't have read it, but 23 to 28% is pretty far away from 68%.
Right. But
to be fair, that was in 2017 is this source. So maybe it really grew in the past, 8-9 years. I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt it.
So the $30 million moderate is from the city, not from the state.
The city of New York?
Yeah.
City?
Yeah. And they quote, the city is footing the whole tab for, quote, culturally relevant, affordable, subsidized food.
Subsidized food, wow.
Thanks for the super chat, Ray. Aliens are real and we should eat them. All right.
Wait, so how does he's the mayor of the whole state?
So he's the mayor of the city.
Wait,
yeah,
say that
The
again?
city, the 5 boroughs.
What I'm sorry. Yes, he's the mayor of that specific city. So his plans have jurisdiction over all 5 of them?
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be 70 million for 5 stores. The first one is going to be 30 million.
Yeah. So the governor has no authority over the mayor operating like that on a local level?
No, this is coming out of the city budget.
Okay, so it's funded by city budget.
Yeah.
And what's their entire budget?
New York City's budget is, I think, 120-something
billion.
20 billion. More than the entire state of New York. I mean, the state of Florida.
Yeah. I mean, one, he already kind of lied. I mean, he originally said government-owned grocery stores, and here it says the city will hire a private operator. So it's crazy. But it doesn't say multiple different private operators. It says a private operator. And of course, that private operator is going to be subsidized, meaning that they're going to sell these grocery store items below market price. So if there's
only staple items.
Only staple items. Well, I mean, regardless, right? They're still going to be alienating other private-owned grocery stores around the area. So,
how about the bodegas? Forget the big grocery store. Yeah. The big grocery stores don't give a shit. You know why? Because what'll happen is what always happens when the government tries to manipulate pricing. They'll have a set of 10 items that are below retail, and they will be sold out within 2 hours of the market opening, creating scarcity, right? Pricing is not about gouging. It's about the balance between the supply and the demand of a product. And when you undercut...
Sorry.
Go ahead, Bracha. No, you know more about this than I do.
No. I did not mean to cut you off.
No, that's what'll happen. They'll say, okay, eggs are $4 a dozen at every supermarket. We're going to sell it for $2 a dozen. So what are people going to do? They're going to rush in. They're going to buy all the eggs. Then there'll be empty shelves. Then the rest of the products they're selling are retail. So there's no point in even going to those when you can go to Costco a mile away or any other supermarket. So they'll just end up going out of business, and they'll end up getting some of these products cheaper, but only until they sell out.
So as Hammer just so beautifully described with examples, I think the way I would say it is the best way to prevent real scarcity and real shortages is to allow the market to price goods however it does that, because that is the way to ensure that the costs of acquiring and distributing and delivering and selling an item are reflective of the actual costs incurred all the way through the supply chain. And if anywhere in that supply chain, the cost benefit ratio of going out and doing the work it takes to get this product to the shelf like falls apart, then the whole thing falls apart.
Yep.
Sorry, not to bring it back, but while you guys are speaking, I'm just looking at more sources. This one's from the Bureau of Economic, Energy, and Business Affairs Custom Report excerpts about China. And it says right here, SOEs, both central and local, account for only 30% of the total GDP and about 20% of China's total employment. I wish that guy was kind of still here, because he just straight up lied. This is the fourth source that I have found that says the opposite of what he said.
While you're at it, why don't you look up youth unemployment in China? See what the rate of youth unemployment is in China with this wonderful economy.
I'm just gonna keep looking for more sources that debunk him. It's just
Matt,
like,
he lied as soon as I heard him say that. I was like, "That's a lie."
This one from 2023 from the Diplomat, it's 25%. That was just 2 years ago. The first source I read, or sorry, not the first source, the last one I just read was from last year, so it's more up to date. But still, yeah, like there's nothing at all that I can find that says 68%. I even tried looking on that China Power Project. I couldn't find anything that said.
China Power Project.
Hey Matt, check out. Will you look up and find, because you're the research guy, find what's the youth unemployment rate in China?
16.1% in February.
16.1%.
Yeah, from 16 in reference to the specific age group would be 16 to 24-year-olds.
Yeah, and they're actually lying. It's actually much higher. They're cooking the numbers. Because for a couple of years, they stopped even producing the numbers. They stopped printing them for public consumption because it was so bad. So now they're basically cooking the numbers. But if you think a good economy is one where 16% of people 16 to 24 are unemployed, okay, I guess.
Those asking
That's like
about
more than 1 out of every 10 person, by the way.
For those asking about like did ChinaPower.org was lying, honestly, I don't even think it was lying. I think that guy was just too dumb to read it correctly.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for the super chat, Bronca. And the construction company is called Mander and Co. Oh, you guys are talking about the Mamdani stuff. Blade says New Yorkers still waiting for their free groceries and free rents. Made me smile. Thanks for the super chat. He said, I do government contracts and I read Mamdani's full bid for modular bathrooms. It was a complete joke. I couldn't even find portable toilet companies who are willing to work as a subcontractor. Hi, thank you. What about those free buses Mamdani promised? Did that ever come about? The free buses?
No.
Did you guys see that? Because you know how he said that the first, maybe you guys already talked about this. Sorry if you did. But he said the first grocery was going to be open within a year of him being in office. And now he's saying that it's not going to be open until 2029.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. By the way, just to make it like in reference to the free bus thing. Yeah, the MTA handles that, right? The Metropolitan Transportation Authority handles that. And I've been doing a lot of research on Mamdani, and me and Hammer have had conversations about him. They've just recently this year, actually, which is pretty funny, increased bus fare prices. I believe both for like the regular bus fares and like the whole like premium thing. Like they increased bus fare prices. So, and I get it. Like that was kind of out of his purview. Right.
In fairness, that was set up before he became mayor. But the funny thing is, with the whole free bus thing, half the people already don't pay.
Right. Which is like half the people don't pay, but the ones that do, they're not really paying that much money. It's really like the average bus fare, I believe, for just like a normal bus fare is like what? Is it like $1 or like I think it's like $1.45 if you're below a certain income threshold.
I don't know. It just says
they have 48% fare evasion. So 48% of people ride the buses don't even pay.
Right. How did they do that? It's $3.
They just get on the bus and they don't pay.
I don't understand how's that. When I used to ride the bus, you can't. Gross. How do you get on without paying? There's a thing that you have to. Like,
you just jump the turnstile.
Yeah.
Oh, that's subways. I'm talking about fare. Bus.
They don't have security on the bus.
They're just at the stop and they open the doors and they flood in. There's nobody to stop them.
There's a back door too.
Right.
There's two
And,
doors.
like,
Sure, that's
and
fair.
and the reason why, for example, the bus drivers don't really enforce it or do much about it is because they want to avoid being assaulted, and there's a bunch of homeless people, a bunch of crazy people, stuff like that, right? So
Did you guys see that
they would be
video?
like, okay.
I don't remember where it was, but I saw it today. That video of that bus driver shooting that guy that pulled a gun on him. Did you guys see that video?
No.
It's going pretty viral. I don't think I could show it on TikTok, but essentially this guy goes up to him and he's like telling him like sit down, and the dude pulls a pew pew out, and the bus driver was strapped, and he immediately goes bah, 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 and just takes the dude out first. It's
That's great. Fantastic.
No, it was great. And then people were saying he might lose his job because they're not supposed to care, and I'm like, well, at least he didn't lose his life.
Yeah.
You're right. The average fare now is $3 because it moved up 10 cents from $2.90. But before that, if you were below a certain income threshold, you could get it for like $1.45. But yeah, you're right. Like Hammer said it correctly. Like half of the people that go on a bus don't even pay.
Yeah,
You
it's like you're
firmly, and you guys know this because I've spoken about it many times. I 100% am anti-public transportation. I don't believe in it at all. It is not the responsibility of the government to get you from point A to point B. Figure it out yourself.
Wait, what do you mean?
Hammer,
Like you're
what I will say is I am personally disgusted by the idea of stepping on public transit.
Oh,
But I do
gross.
think that it's possible. It should at least be analyzed neutrally whether the cost to the public of having people without any transportation or without any reliable transportation exceeds the costs of public
Wait a second.
transit.
You're assuming that the lack of public transportation means there won't be transportation available.
I'm not. I'm just saying we would
well.
have to
What is the
analyze
transport?
it.
What
I
is the
think it's worth
transportation that's
analyzing
available?
neutrally.
Private.
What? Wait, so you're okay with buses and stuff? You're just saying that the government should fund it.
Correct.
Oh, okay. I thought
If
you were
there's a
just like
market
against
for buses.
I thought you were just
allow the-
against buses existing, and I'm
Well,
like,
I'm
that's
against-
a little harsh.
I'm against the Hebrew Hammer going on a bus. The Hebrew Hammer.
No,
was
no,
on
I
a
agree.
bus.
I wouldn't step foot on a bus anymore either, and I used to ride that every day. But I don't know. I guess I'm bougie.
So many
guess I'm bougie now.
traumatic encounters with
know
the
what?
public
When
on
I-
buses and BART.
When I used to ride the bus, though, it wasn't as disgusting, and it was also in LA. Maybe it's different in New York, but nowadays, I assume it's a lot more disgusting than it used to be.
Oh,
Hebrew
horrible.
Hammer loves the
used to
subway.
Never.
He
I
loves
used to
it.
take the
I have pictures of
Amtrak
him.
at night in LA in like, I don't know, 20 years ago. And it wasn't that bad.
When I
It
was in
pretty
LA,
bad,
yeah,
but it wasn't that bad.
20
It is
20
now.
years ago in LA, it honestly wasn't bad at all. It was clean. There wasn't weird crackheads or anything like that.
There used to be in LA private mass transportation, but the government pushed them out, and now they have a monopoly, and they don't allow the private, and this private sector can't get into it. If there's a market for people that need to be transported from point A to point B, and there's a way to make money, let the private sector come in and do it.
I
Get the
agree.
public sector out of
Google
it
used to
altogether.
do that
I
for
agree.
all of its employees around the Bay Area, these huge buses, and they were all around. And then, like, I don't know, Black Lives Matter or some kind of hippie movement happened. And they started getting like Molotov cocktails thrown at the Google employees. And so they had to like cut back the line so much. I'm not even sure if they're doing it anymore.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
mean,
that was when they moved to San Jose.
I agree. I think there absolutely should be private transportation. That totally makes sense. I think it'll end up being cheaper. It'll be more efficient. It'll be cleaner. It'll be better. But what was I going to say? No, I forgot. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
Not to cut in, but I mean, I guess to cut in.
Oh,
but
dude, I forgot you were up here. Yeah, what's up?
I was just waiting patiently for a time to come in. Not to cut in, but the private transportation, like, what would like they charge to keep it up going, like per person?
Well, more competition, smaller pricing. It'll be less, and people can, do my favorite thing: vote by the dollar. And I couldn't tell you exactly how much it would cost, but I bet you it'd be cheaper than $3 a fare.
Oh,
Of course, it's going to be enforced, so you can't get these people just like sneaking on. But 1 second, hi, thanks for the super chat. What's wrong with buses for me in Canada? It's fine. Well, I don't know about the buses in Canada, so I couldn't answer you. Oh, that's what I was gonna bring up. I heard, I think it's true, that the people that pick up the blue trash cans in California for recycling, I heard that's actually a private company that does that. It's not the city.
Yes, I believe
Yes.
that to be true.
Okay.
It also depends where.
Okay, fair enough.
In most municipalities, it is privatized.
Yeah, I think we should privatize just about everything. Sure, there's arguments for some things that probably wouldn't be better privatized, but I bet most things would always be more efficient privatized. And we should also get rid of, I mean, what do you guys think about like these bullying monopolies that exist? Are you guys against them? I am. I don't know.
Which monopoly?
Well, I was reading about how the reason a lot of companies cannot start up credit card companies because anytime they try, Visa, MasterCard, Amex, the small amount that exists, they just essentially push them out and they don't allow them to get into the market. I'm totally against that. I think it's against the free market.
They don't do it themselves. The government does it for them.
Okay, yeah, I'm against that. I think we should have more options.
Yeah, and it's one of the biggest misnomers about big business is they think big business are capitalist free market entities. They're not. Big multinational corporations are anti-capitalist and anti-free market because they don't want competition and they use their lobbying of the government to create the conditions and regulations that make the barrier of entry for new companies so difficult.
That's called regulatory capture.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, that kind of stuff I'm very much against. I'm not saying I don't think a company, if it really is meeting a demand that others can and it builds itself up in a way, I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm against the free market not being played out and maybe someone with a better idea or more efficient idea to meet a demand comes in and they get bullied out of the market. That's the kind of stuff that I'm against. I think it's anti-free market.
Yeah, you look at California, for example.
All tariffs and protectionism all lead to that outcome that startups and small businesses cannot compete with established entities that have already entangled themselves with government and connections and levers of power.
I think
if you look at California as an example, and a lot of blue states do this, red states too to a certain degree, the big corporations use government at the state level to create licensing that is particularly difficult, that makes the barrier of entry difficult. So for example, in California, if you want to go into braiding hair, you need like 1,000 hours of
esthetician.
Yeah, why is there a license to be a barber or a hair braider or to do someone's nails? If you're a barber, if you want to cut hair and you have the money, the government should have no role in licensing you. You open your business, and if you do a good job, people will come to you. And if you cut hair poorly,
what about just for basic understanding of like the laws on health standards?
Like what is the health standard of cutting someone's hair?
I don't know, but I'm assuming there is. I mean, they're always sanitizing their stuff. I'm not saying it has to be this hard thing. I'm saying go online, pay a quick fee, take a
good analogy. Kosher is a good analogy. We basically have private organizations that pay companies, or companies pay them, depending on how in demand their product is with the kosher market, to certify the product. You can have private certification at Harvard. If you get a degree from Harvard, that's a private certification.
Right.
In a free market, organizations emerge like Yelp, where individuals can gather information about the reliability of different.
But I'm not talking about standards for operating a business. Obviously, we should have standards, health standards. I'm talking about getting into the business. Why should a guy who wants to cut hair have to put in hundreds of hours of hair cutting for free before he gets a license to cut hair?
I agree with that. I'm not talking about this. You're right. It's probably, I don't actually know what the standards is for a barber, but I'm just saying maybe simplify it down to you just need to take a quick test. Again, nothing hard, just a quick test to where you can understand lice, fungal, all that stuff, like just general health requirements. But I agree with you. They shouldn't be doing, for free work, hundreds of hours of all this stuff. I agree with you. If you're good, you're good. If you're not, you're not. If you're not, people aren't going to go to your shop. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should, if you open a restaurant, you should have cockroaches running around the restaurant. But what I'm saying is you shouldn't make it so difficult for people to start up a corporation. Listen, if you haven't started a business and you don't know the layers and layers and layers of licensing, government entities you have to go through, city taxes, city licensing, counties taxes, county licensing, it's insane.
Yeah, we have
Make
way
it
too
easy
many
for people
regulations.
to open business.
For sure,
Make
we
it
have
easy
way
for them.
For sure, we have way too many regulations. Someone in the chat, Conservative Kelly, said for a hairdresser it's 1,600 hours. Yeah, I didn't even know that. That sounds insane.
Well, I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, that's insane.
Why? If you do a bad job, if people go in and they come out with a mohawk and they wanted, a bob, then people are going to stop going there and they'll go out of business.
Right, I agree.
Amber, are
with that.
those the only two hairstyles you know the names of?
A buzz cut.
That's kind of what like social media, like makeup artists have been doing. Like they don't necessarily have like a certificate, but they've been doing their own makeup and others for so long, and then they put out content and people come to them.
And they end up doing better than a lot of these people with licenses.
Right, and they're rich.
Yeah.
Like,
I have
they're
a proposal.
rich.
I genuinely think a good proposal would be to, and I don't think it would ever happen because politicians they love themselves, to petition Congress and our government to amend the Constitution to outlaw lobbying entirely. I would have no problem with that.
Why?
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that.
Because I believe that
I think it's a due process issue, and I think you could there are probably cases, if you want me to look for you, that have already gone to the Supreme Court about this.
I don't even think so whenever it comes to all of the licensing and stuff like that. I understand that lobbying isn't the reason for all of the licensing requirements, but it can be, and it is in many cases.
So
My
the issue
argument
is that it's a non-justiciable question. Supreme Court won't take it because lobbying is so embedded in the functioning of our entire government.
That's the issue.
Right. The issue is if the court rules that that's unlawful, the whole system falls apart and it's impossible to enforce. And that is the kind of case that the Supreme Court will not touch.
So
I got one for you though that we can
get
past.
Wait. So the argument is because it's become too much of an issue right now, even though it might be a violation of the way the framers of the Constitution wanted it to be in terms of what can be classified as petitioning the government, because the problem is already so ingrained in the system that we just shouldn't do anything about it.
There's no precedent to turn it
Sometimes
over.
there's also sometimes in a particular moment. I think there is precedent to turn over, but I think sometimes in a particular moment, the court says this is not a good time to address this issue because it's too flammable.
But only
I got a better way.
address
I got a
it
better
in a
way to
different
deal with it.
season.
Moderate. I got a better way to deal with it.
I'll be back.
Private entities should have no problem lobbying. It's constitutionally protected, and I don't see an issue with it. The issue is public sector unions should not be allowed to lobby because they're lobbying with taxpayer money.
I think it's a better argument, but
that could be tied into it. I just think that the framework of the Constitution within a federal republic, I think that protectionism by large corporations, like what we were talking about with Visa and MasterCard have an insane monopoly over that market that make it very difficult for other businesses or other people to start it up.
I think
their own businesses. I don't think that's in line with the framework of the Constitution. I think it should be outlawed.
I agree, but you're trying to outlaw all of lobbying. Lobbying is a good thing. It can be used as a bad thing, and that's a perfect example. But lobbying, first off, without lobbying, the Iron Triangle kind of falls apart. And the Iron Triangle, even with its flaws, is pretty important. And it's a way for us to have as much representation in our government as we can, especially for a country the size of 330 million people. This is how we get our representation. We can't have it on an individual level. It's just too many people.
What about
foreign lobbying?
Ban public sector lobbying, and you'll solve many problems because because what happens at the local level, people say, well, how does a Mamdani get elected, or how does Karen Bass get elected? Because of the unions. Because they pay the unions, they give them sweetheart contracts. The unions take their dues, which are from their members who are paid by the taxpayers, like in the particular case of teachers, for example, or police. And then they lobby the government to get a better contract because they're the ones that can turn out the vote on the local level. You have to ban public sector union lobbying Private sector should be able to lobby whatever they want. But the public sector, they're negotiating new contracts with people that are giving them money that they siphon the money back to them to get them elected.
Me and Nick were actually having a pretty decent conversation about lobby. Didn't last too long, but I like his viewpoint in reference to the fact that like normal private citizens don't speak to their representatives too often, right? So if you send money to, let's say, a lobbying group that already holds your view and they already have like a pool of donors, they can better represent your opinion and your values, right? APAC can be an example. If you have a Jewish American who, let's say, is not
use
all
the
that,
Chamber of Commerce.
I mean, that too, right? That's a possibility, but I disagree with moderates framing. I actually believe that the founding fathers would not be so much against lobbying. The reason why I say that is because like their system of democracy was not all that democratic to begin with. They like the big issue people have with lobbying is that, well, you have these people that are powerful or just these, corporations that are super powerful and they have all this money, they have all these donors, and they're able to essentially dominate our system and make it less democratic. Well, the founding fathers like made sure that you had to have property, right, and be a male, right, and actually have some skin in the game before you could have an opinion. So they, to a degree, they also subscribe to the theory of first have a decent amount of skin in the game, first have a decent amount of power, then we'll hear your opinion.
Right,
they didn't hear the opinions of peasants either, right?
I don't think that's good precedent, though, the fact that America wasn't actually fully democratic at our inception because only Christian white landowning males had power. But
I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying that like you try to frame it as if the founding fathers would vehemently disagree with the lobbying of today. I actually don't think they would. I think they'd be more okay with it. And to be honest, the reason why I support lobbying so much is because to an extent it makes the system less democratic, and I don't want it to be democratic. Like when we have these like 20, 21-year-olds who are running for Congress, and they're all free Palestine, abolish ICE, open borders. Like, yeah, I want, AIPAC and any lobby group to just crush them, right? Because to an extent, like even the Democrats, right? Like if you look at the Democratic Party right now, it is being infiltrated by leftists and socialists, right? AOC, Mamdani, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, so on and so forth, right? These people are infiltrating the Democratic Party and kind of like crushing the establishment. Now, we already have an issue with the general establishment, but they're like far better. I think we'd all agree. They're far better than, for example, the new socialists that are trying to go in and infiltrate. And so do I want lobbying groups and so on and so forth to destroy the socialists that are running? Absolutely. Do I want to uphold the Democratic establishment over the new radicals coming in? Of course I do, right?
Real quick,
it's a fair argument.
I need to read this newest super chat. I hope
think
Hammer is still
comments on here are really heavily filtered. I don't know what's going on, but
okay. I can't control that. The super chat says, I bet the guy talking about haircuts is bald. Thanks for the super chat, Nero, by the way. Yeah, he is.
I'm gonna dip out. I have to do a debate tomorrow for.
No, you don't.
This campus, dude. This campus I'm going to is like littered with anti-Semitism. Like 30% of the students are Arab, and like 70% of them. 70% of them are.
Hey man, be safe. Be safe. Are you gonna have security?
I don't know. I think
be safe.
I don't know. Yeah. I think. Jesus.
I don't know. That doesn't sound too convincing, dude.
Nick, it's time for a song when
everybody. And it's a strictly pro-Israel debate too. So.
Oh shit.
I think that's good. You're gonna get a lot of content. Just be safe, but you'll get a lot of content for that.
Yeah, Liv is coming with passages, and they're gonna record everything.
Nice.
By the way, where is this happening?
University of Texas at University of Texas at Dallas.
Let's go,
dude. We should set something up.
There's a lot of Arabs and Muslims in Texas, huh?
Yes.
Get a drone, dude. Oh yeah, definitely get a drone. I mean, these guys are crazy. These leftists are crazy nowadays, dude. Yeah, be safe.
Too bad. What's her name? The Latina chick that was running for, I think, governor.
Oh, yeah, she was awesome.
She was.
Yeah,
too bad she didn't win.
He needs to stay safe. Is all I know.
No, I think she was running for like a representative seat in Texas.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's insane. When she was on Piers Morgan, they're like, Piers is like, so you're telling me that you would kick out every Muslim out of Texas, and she just goes, yes. Like she doesn't even like explain. She just yes.
To be fair, yeah, I think her name was like, or her
Valentina.
name is, she hasn't died. Valentina like Gomez or something like that. To be fair, she isn't all that smart. Like I did watch her interview and she like sounded like she kind of repeats the same thing over and over again. Like I'm gonna get rid of all the Muslims. I'm gonna get rid of all the Muslims.
I don't even agree with what she's saying. I just think it's insane how she just straight up she just says this shit. Literally, no.
By the way, I'm surprised she's actually still alive. I don't think she has security. I don't know how much money she actually has or how much money they've donated to her or anything like that. But she has a
lot of guns. She probably stays home a lot. So if someone were to try to go to her house, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't think it'd be the smartest option.
She's like James Fishback, but for like not targeting Israel and Jews, but like targeting Islam. Like her whole personality gained popularity on Twitter because of her rhetoric. But all right, I'm gonna dip out. You guys have a good night. Nick, just wanted to say I really, really, really like that sparkling sippy cup. I hope you have a good salad to go.
I do really like it. There's actually a salad in it. It goes through the straw, and I just
you blended it up.
Yeah,
Kale,
exactly.
lettuce,
Exactly. It's pretty good.
I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
James Fishback is such an embarrassment though, because like again, this guy purports himself to be free speech, and then he blocks me on X. And then like he gets a donation from $125,000 from a Pakistani citizen, and you mentioned that, by the way, I was watching when you mentioned
let me actually talk about that right now, because everyone's wondering why my thumbnail on X. I explained it earlier, but obviously we have more viewers right now. People are wondering why my thumbnail on X says, am I being sued by a Pakistani? So this guy, hold on, let me go to the original. So I originally tweeted out, let me put this on.
Thank you.
So I originally tweeted out, or posted this right here, that James Fishback, of the $176,000 he raised in this time for his PAC, which is called Florida First PAC, $125,000 of that. So a significant chunk of that comes from one guy, okay? And his name is Daniel Hassan. I say a Pakistani citizen. Okay, so look at the words that I put. I just said that he gets this money. This guy's a Pakistani citizen. His name's Daniel Hassan. That's it, right? And I said that James Fishback is the guy that's always screaming about APAC and being America first.
Yeah, APAC America first, yeah.
Right, and then here's the receipts right here. It shows right here, $176,000, and you can add it up. Daniel Hassan, $125,000. So Daniel Hassan, the guy, the Pakistani guy, comes into my, this was a few hours ago now at this point. He says, I am asking you to kindly retract this libelous accusation of an FEC violation. Okay, first off, before I read, I just want anyone to point out to me, where the fuck did I say there was an FEC violation? Pretty sure all I said was that you gave this money. Okay, anyways, next sentence. I was born a US citizen, which is easily confirmed. Again, someone tell me, where in the fuck did I say he wasn't a US citizen? I just said you were a Pakistani citizen, which, by the way, is true. And then he says, warm regards, Daniel Hassan. And I tell him straight up, like, essentially, fuck off, right? I welcome a lawsuit. I said, answer these 3 questions. I'm more than happy to retract it. But first, read. Just read. So I said right here, 1, show me where I ever accused this of an FEC violation. Do you know how to read? 2, where I ever said you were not an American citizen. Again, do you know how to read? 3, generally people born in Pakistan, which I looked it up. It's a law that was passed in like 1951 or 52 or something. Yeah. If you're born in Pakistan, which he was, you are automatically a Pakistani citizen, which here it is right here. This is from like some interview he did. He was born in Pakistan. Now his parents are American citizens. So he also has American citizenship. He has both. So again, he's a Pakistani citizen, which is what I said. Now it's funny. I'm looking at him. He still has not commented, because of course he can't, he's an idiot. But the comments are hilarious. I can understand him though. I'd be devastated if someone called me Pakistani. And there's like 3 different comments that say that you insulted him by calling him Pakistani.
Right, exactly. I know. I think that's like, again, if someone accused anyone else of like being a British citizen or like, I don't even know, whatever country, they wouldn't be that offended. But I think he's more offended that he was called Pakistani. I mean, which he is. He's Pakistani and he's a Pakistani citizen. But yeah, it's like the reason why that's hilarious and ironic is because James Fishback talks about, foreign lobbying and APAC and money from a foreign country, which isn't even what APAC does, but regardless, right? you're taking money from Pakistanis. $125,000 out of the $175,000 you raised came from a citizen of a foreign country, or we can say a dual citizen. And hasn't this guy been talking about like ending dual citizenship and how these, there are these like secret dual citizen Congress members who have Israeli citizenship? It's like, I'm saying that's like embarrassing, right?
Same thing with Dan Bilzerian. He's this like,
Armenian citizen, right?
dual citizens and Jews. Yeah, he's an Armenian citizen, which again, fine, no problem, dude. Be an Armenian citizen, but like you're kind of being a bit of a hypocrite when you criticize all this other shit, and you're over here, you're a fucking citizen yourself, dude. Or sorry, dual citizen yourself. Meanwhile, you're going against Randy Fine, who's not a dual citizen, by the way. He's just an American citizen.
On top of that, Randy Fine has proposed a bill in Congress to end dual citizenship.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is funny because like people say, well, he's a Jew and dual citizenship this and the second. Well, he literally proposed a bill to end dual citizenship. Now, Sneago didn't talk about that. None of the woke right, mention anything about that and said, hey, actually, thank you, Randy Fine, for proposing a bill that would end dual citizenship. Or even like, for example, force Congress members to be open about it, right? To be transparent about it, because I believe there was like a bill in 2011 that passed or something, so that we at least know whether or not people in Congress are engaging in stock trades or whatever. So why shouldn't we have the same thing for dual citizenship transparency? I think that'd be fine. But yeah, like they don't talk about that.
Check this out, you guys. Check this out right here. I just want you guys to, while you listen to Candace Owens on this story, I want you to look at how happy she is while saying this breaking news, right? So she found out. She did it. She found out. Breaking news, guys. Brand new information about Charlie's murder. What is it?
Did you hear Jordan Peterson say she was an actual narcissist?
Yeah, she is. What is the breaking news? No idea. You know why? Because she hasn't told us. Because if you want to know, you have to join her live and subscribe and, buy some merch while you're at it. But just check it out. Look how happy she is. Look at this.
All right, you guys, it's all good if you want to just cancel your Netflix subscription, because the episode we have today, we're going on a journey. It is insane.
Look at that! Look at her face! Look at her face!
It's insane. To take money away from Netflix.
It is insane.
Like,
So right off the bat, she's like, you know why she's happy? Because because she has been losing a lot of viewers because she's getting fucking old news boring. She kept saying over and over, "We're so close, guys. We're so close." And after a while, people are like, all right, you haven't figured it out. I'm moving on. So now she's like, she probably did find something new, which is going to be another nothing burger, but something that'll get her maybe some extra viewers. And that's why she's happy. Not because she's solving her best friend's murder. Not because of any of that. No, it's because she's, of course did she tell the police this brand new information? No. Did she tell the government? No. Did she tell anyone? No. Because they're all in on it. They're all patsies, or they're all working for Israel.
So what's wrong with her? She also admitted to like having people follow Erica around and stuff. Like she's so crazy, dude. She will get in trouble one of these days.
Insane, unbelievable. Your jaw is going to be on the floor. It's about this gun that the ATF traced on the morning of Charlie's assassination, and it turns out that one of Erica's friends attempted to buy the company of that gun. I'm referring to Victor Marx. If you are not following this, you probably haven't heard about it. I am actually just beside myself going through the story. So join us at the link below.
Thanks for the super chat. Disobey. Did you already talk about the trash truck pallies? I did. Yes, we talked about the 60. They're trash. They're trash people, and so they're in trash trucks. It makes sense. Disobey. Thanks for the super chat. Candace made millions off of Charlie's death. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but the thing is
she's gonna get Erica her too. It's like
right. She has framed this as, hey, I was a good friend of Charlie Kirk, which, by the way, they really weren't friends like for years now. But regardless, right? I'm a good friend of Charlie Kirk, and I'm genuinely trying to find out what happened to him and stitch everything together. So why would you, if this is good and breaking news and something that's just going to blow our minds, why put it behind a paywall? Like why limit people's ability to find out what happened to Charlie Kirk? Like that's kind of
Matt,
like,
like she's insane because Erica just had to cancel an event that she was supposed to do with the vice president, and then Candace tweets, "Oh, this is all fake."
Really?
Like she's getting quote unquote threats. Like she's insinuating that it's not true that she's getting threats.
Yeah.
But of course she is. Candace is the reason she's getting threats.
Right. No, because of the whole like Bride of Charlie thing that she did. But it's like, and Candace Owens is a vile human being. Like,
She
this
was
is like straight up.
If she was a responsible person, she would say,
Yeah.
okay, no threats are allowed. If you're a fan of mine, like, let's not do that.
Right.
No.
No, but
Isn't there a
she's
specific
Yeah.
prohibition in the Torah to not bring suffering or undue hardship to a widow?
Yeah, there is. I'm
And
pretty
it's
sure.
a mitzvah to uplift the widow.
Right. But no, it's vile. One, because she actually knew Charlie Kirk more than I knew Charlie Kirk, and I knew him very briefly, obviously, because I went on his show and I met him briefly at in Arizona at Turning Point USA headquarters. But it's like she actually knew him for years, and then they kind of like, separated, and she stopped working for TV USA and went independent, stuff like that. And she came out with all of these crazy conspiracy theories that had no evidence against the bride of Charlie Kirk, right? And Charlie Kirk's widow. But then she comes out later,
the mother of his kids.
The mother of his kids, right? With these scandalous attacks that are unfounded, and she did this or that or whatever, and asking like just the craziest, the dumbest questions possible. But then she releases merch, and I believe the merch was something about like, when Charlie Kirk as a Christian, he would say Shabbat Shalom, right? He would say Shabbat Shalom, and by the way, Erica Kirk would do it as well. She came out with these T-shirts, right? Shabbat Shalom T-shirts to make fun of Candace, of Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk, and she has been monetizing off of the death of her supposed friend, whilst attacking her widow, and that has to be one of the most pathetic things ever.
And doing it in a degraded way,
right?
Doing it in a degraded way because it's anti-Semitic,
right? But Erica Kirk was so kind to her to the point where she allowed her and Candace to have a hour-long conversation, I believe, where Candace Owens recorded parts of it and did weird things. And then even after that, Erica is still being attacked by Candace and still going after, she just keeps doing it over and over again, and it's never ending. Has to be one of the most pathetic things ever. She is straight up vile. It's crazy.
He really is vile.
Great. Ellie, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I don't know when to add into the conversation. By the way, Bracha, the Torah prohibition is also on the children. When the father dies, it's like God is directly the father. So people who are rude to the children of somebody who died, they get a direct punishment. So interesting.
No, yeah, it's just sick what she's been doing. It's sick.
Also,
Ellie, what did you?
No, but it's also she's really gonna get herself in trouble. I'm telling you, this is not gonna end well for her. I heard that they're already suing. They're planning to sue her. So
I mean, didn't she already get sued by?
There are rumors that they're suing her, and the Daily Wire is helping her. Erica sue her with the law firm that dealt with the cake thing with the gay couple, the conservative law firm. So I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I know
There's a video of
I
the
know
law
that firm. I know those
speaking
guys.
about the case. I'll send you the video.
Will you send it to me?
Yeah, I will. I'll look for it.
All right. Ellie, what'd you come up here for?
Actually, I came up when you guys were talking about extraterrestrials. I wanted to say that the Torah has a little view on that.
The Torah?
Really?
It's interesting.
Go ahead. I'm interested.
Well, angels generally only have one mission, and then they're basically gone. They stop existing. They're created for one mission. But there are certain angels that are sort of created, according to some planets. They're attached to some planets.
Where in the Torah does it say this? I mean, I might be wrong, but where in the Torah does it say this?
It's more from the rabbinical point of view.
So not the
I don't know if
Torah.
you believe in that.
No, it's not about believing it or not, but it's just not the Torah, right? The Torah is the 5 books of Moses.
Well, it's very, very common for all of the Tanakh and the Talmud to be called the Torah.
Oh, okay. Why?
It's considered the written Torah and the oral Torah.
No, I get the Mishnah.
And then there are derivative works from them that are considered derived according to divine principles of derivation.
I get the Mishnah is the oral Torah, but like, why would you call all of the Tanakh? And I believe you that people do. I'm just saying why. Like, why would they call it?
The Tanakh is not necessarily called the oral Torah. It's only like the Talmud, Mishnah.
Well, no, I'm saying the whole thing is the Torah. There's the written Torah and the oral Torah. But when you're referring to the Talmud and you're calling it the Torah, that's because it's pretty common to call the oral Torah the Torah.
Well, no, that makes okay. That's fair. Does this come from the Mishnah? This concept of actually, I don't even remember what you said. You said something about. I know you said the angels they'll have one mission and they go away.
No, it comes from more of the Kabbalistic aspect of the
It sounds
Torah.
more like Kabbalah.
Yeah, Kabbalah. It's more Kabbalah.
Is that also called the Torah?
Kabbalah is also Torah. I don't know. Like Kabbalah is like something only like 40-year-old and above are supposed to learn, but like Sephardim, meaning from people from the Middle East, Jews from the Middle East, learn it from whatever age. It's really interesting, but people from Europe only learn it from.
So does Kabbalah, does that come from the? And I don't know. I've read some, and when I say some, I mean like not even scratching the surface of the Talmud, the Mishnah, the Gemara. I don't know shit about Kabbalah.
Neither have I.
Okay, I was going to ask: does Kabbalah, is that also from the oral Torah? I'm actually asking.
Yes,
I have
Kabbalah
no idea.
is from the. It's
really
the Talmud.
No, it's considered a divinely derived work, right?
But it comes from the Talmud. So it's more deeper understanding
from the Talmud.
Okay, real quick. But 1 second. The Cars, thanks for the super chat. He says the Torah would be specifically the Chumash, which is the first 5 books, but Torah as in a general term is for Jewish learning. Okay, fair enough. I didn't know that. I honestly didn't. I'm not Jewish, so I thought, with Torah, I thought it was like just the 5 books of Moses, and then oral Torah was the Mishnah. But that's fair. If that's what you guys call it, that's what you guys call it. But a lot of people, by the way, are. Like, a lot of people are saying Kabbalah's not Torah, like, and they're putting exclamation marks in, like, all caps.
If you talk to any,
but then others you see Kabbalah is accepted as revelation.
I don't know. To me,
from Jews who are, like, really, like, observing the religion, like, doing everything, praying 3 times a day, going to synagogue, Passover, everything they're doing, Pesach, everything they're doing, they generally believe in Kabbalah. They just don't learn it necessarily because it's a very high concept to learn about, like, creation and the way the world works in, like, such mystic ways.
Yeah, all right. I mean, look, yeah, fair enough. I appreciate, regardless, that's something in the Talmud that talks about angels attached to planets. I honestly, to me, and I'm not trying to sound rude, that sounds like insane to me, but that's fine. I appreciate the knowledge.
Okay, and also there's 7 heavens and 7 earths. I don't know how that works exactly.
All right. Yeah, this is the start this is when people ask like what's some stuff that I don't agree with in Judaism, it's stuff like this. Again, it's not like it bothers me because it's not like you guys are like screaming Baruch Hashem and blowing yourselves up, so whatever, believe what you want, but this is the part where it splits for me. I can't like, I don't know.
I mean, my opinion is I think the Torah is like very important, and I revere it in that sense because I believe there are a bunch of traditions and customs that are beneficiary for human life.
Matt, I never asked you your religious beliefs or.
I'm not of any particular religion.
He's Muslim.
Actually. I'm not of.
He's a Scientologist.
He's a Scientologist.
I'm a secret Muslim who doesn't want to say the truth. Okay.
I'll ask you in private one day.
Yeah, but my perspective is I don't believe any of it is actually divine. I don't particularly believe in any divinity. I'm already not even right. But I do think that religion, especially with Judaism and Christianity, have good cultural entailments. Yeah, I believe they have good cultural entailments, which is why I say I'm a cultural Christian, right? Because I was raised Christian, my family's Christian, but I don't believe in the divinity part of it. But I do believe it's good for society.
He's a Scientolu Akbar. That's what he is. It's like a Scientologist, but also Muslim. Thanks for the super chat, Blade. 5 books of Moses is the only Torah. Yeah, I can get behind the books of Moses, and I think a lot of the teachings, again, barely, not even scraping the surface of what I've learned with the Talmud. A lot of it's very interesting, and it's very smart. But beyond that, there's some things, because I've heard this before. I don't know if you're right or not. I'm not saying you're not, Ellie. I'm just saying I don't know you. But like when I've heard other people say stuff like that, yeah, there's like 7 earths, and that's to me, I can't get behind that. Again, I don't mind that other people believe it. Feel free to believe it. You're not hurting me. You're not hurting anyone else. Doesn't bother me. It's just, to me, I can't get behind that.
I mean, I could see how like it's hard to get behind it and everything, especially like coming from I grew up with it, right? And so it's also like certain mystic aspects of the world. When you're growing up with it, it starts to place together.
Sure.
And so you get certain pieces together. When you don't grow up with it, and especially when you're an adult, it's very hard to see, like, it just sounds like Batman and Superman at that point.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm getting on Omegle because it's already almost 11 and I keep starting this late.
Mashallah.
So. Mashallah. Any last words? Anyone good? Yep. Nope. Cool. Awesome.
What are you doing?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Going on Omegle, so you guys get it. If you're on TikTok, I'm ending the TikTok live. Head over to either YouTube or go over to just follow wherever Danielle goes, whether that's Coach's
Yeah,
Live or whatever.
I'll either open or I'll go to Coach's if you guys want to hang out.
Yeah, she'll stream the Omegle there. That's just simply for people that, for whatever reason, you guys really hate going to YouTube and you guys want to stay on TikTok. But I'm sorry, guys, I can't do it on TikTok anymore. The reason I've lost 3 appeals, I remember I didn't get banned at all for like a year and a half, and then all of a sudden I'm getting banned like every week, and it's because of the Omegle stuff, because TikTok cannot determine the difference between a guest and me because it's not technically a guest, so it bans me pretty quickly. So I don't want to lose the account because then you guys won't have me at all on TikTok. So let's go ahead and
Coach is open. I'll do it there.
All right, head over to Coach, or you can just go to YouTube. Again, it's just easier to go to
you
YouTube, but whatever's easier.
All right.
Or X if you want. I don't really know why anyone would go on X, but because there's no comment section really. All right, y'all. Peace out. TikTok. See you guys over at YouTube. Peace. Wahaha. Now the party can begin. Confirm. Thanks for the super chat. Yabs, Kabbalah is a school of thought and analysis tools to analyze the Torah. It's not news stories or tales. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it's full of like super awesome wisdom. I'm not trying to fully criticize it. I know when I say I can't get behind stuff like that, I'm speaking from a total place of ignorance. Totally get that. Because I'm getting like little snippets, you know, from people on TikTok, and it's just kind of like, that sounds weird. But of course, these people, when I say these people, like rabbis, they study this stuff like literally their entire lives, way older than me, and they're still learning. Like, I totally get it. I'm not coming from a place of total ignorance. Hi, and thanks for the super chat. Which 2 books, both pro and anti-Israel, you recommend? I don't know, man. I always get asked this question. I hate it because I've read so many. Read Konstantin Zarek's The Meaning of Disaster. It's an anti-Zionist book, but it's good because it'll also teach you a lot about what they originally consider the Nakba. Konstantin Zarek is the guy that coined the term Nakba. You can also find it on the internet for free. It's called The Meaning of Disaster. It was originally in Arabic in 1948, and then they translated it to English in 1956 in Egypt, I believe. So that's nice. Second anti-Zionist book. I think they're all garbage. The 100-Year War on Palestine. Because I recommend reading it because the pro-Pallies love that book like it's gospel, and it's really not that good at all. For them, I guess it's good. As for Zionist book, this one's a good one. The Massacre That Never Was, the Deir Yassin myth. That one's a little specific, but it's pretty good. How the Arabs immigrated to the land of Israel. There's 2 volumes prior to the Ottoman Empire and like after. Both of them are really good. Very dense book, but it's all very sourced. It's really good. If you want something more generalized, The Case for Israel by Alan Dershowitz is pretty good. Okay, yeah, I'll play the Carib song, you guys. I'll play it. I got you. I got you. I know you guys like it. I just have to find it. Here it is.
It's Omegle time, everyone! You know what that means? Arabs hanging out in a car. Nothing but Arabs hanging out in a car. Screaming and yelling while hanging out in a car. Absolutely no women, just 3 bros hanging out in a car. 1, 2, 3 Arabs hanging out in a car. Come on, everyone, sing along. From the west to the east to the north to the south. From the river to the sea. All we see is Arabs hanging out in a car. Nothing but Arabs hanging out in a car. We click next.
And what do you see?
No women, absolutely no women, just bros in a car. Screaming and yelling while a car. Omegle time!
Omegle time!
I told you. It's bad, bro.
What's up, bro?
Hello, how are you?
Let me guess. You're trying to rage bait.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Is rage
Oh, here we go.
baiting when you... What?
Are you Jewish?
No, I'm not. Is rage baiting like when you don't believe something, but you're just trying to get someone to be mad about it? Because I am pro-Israel, actually. So is that still
No,
rage
rage
baiting?
baiting is just like purposely trying to piss someone off.
I'm not. No, I'd rather not. I'd rather actually have conversations.
Wait, is that a
but
Palestinian chain or
it's,
is that
Is-
Israel?
it's Israel. But I'm not trying to rage bait them because I think Arabs generally do get fucking triggered very easily. But I'd much rather have a
I'm not Arab,
conversation.
though.
Well, maybe that's why you haven't gotten triggered yet. Usually in the first like 2 seconds, it's like screaming and cussing, and it's like
Yeah,
don't get me
that's
wrong.
what I'm
I
saying.
know.
Fucking Arabs, bro.
I know that that's going to happen with the Israeli flag, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'd much rather have an actual conversation.
Who's the little nigga though? The little poster, the guy right there.
It's the king of Somaliland.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways.
So let me ask you this. So you support Benjamin Netanyahu? You like him?
I mean, I'm not Israeli, so it's like I don't really care much about his like internal policies, just like I don't care about any other foreign prime minister, president, leader, whatever. But I think he's doing a great job in the war on terrorism. But I'm sure it's not just him. I'm sure it's his entire administration. I don't know if I'd give him all the credit.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Another question. So tell me why you're pro-Israel. Like, what's the reason?
There's a lot of reasons, but the benefit that they provide for the world, America, also the fight that they have on the war on terrorism. I think they've done more in the past like 2 years than NATO has done in 25 years. I was in the U.S. military for 12 years. They've done even more than we have.
So you don't think that like Israel's like a terrorist country?
What is a terrorist country? What does that mean?
Like a terrorist country. I mean, obviously they say that Iran's a terrorist country. This like
I don't think
Hamas
Iran is
are
a terrorist
terrorists,
country. I
yeah.
think the IRGC is a terrorist organization.
But Israel's attacked the most countries in the past 2 years than any other country.
No, actually,
So
that would
how are they not terrorists?
actually that would be Iran. Iran in 24 hours attacked 16 countries.
Yeah, but that was after everything happened.
Doesn't matter after that. Your statement was they've done more in the past 2.5 years.
Yeah,
That's
but
just not true.
what led Iran to do that though?
What led Israel to do that? So why did Israel attack? Oh, where'd you go? Hello? Are you there? He didn't skip. He just like went black. What happened? Like a bunch of dudes in the house. Nick is cooking him already. Yeah, it's not hard to cook them. They're on the losing side. It's just dumb. It's just like, oh well, Iran, they only did that after they were attacked first. Oh, you mean like Israel? Pretty sure Israel started attacking Lebanon because Hezbollah on October 8th, the day after the October 7th attack, they were attacking, and Hamas attacked from Gaza and Judea and Samaria militia groups. And then, of course, you have the IRGC proxy groups. All right, I'm going to have to skip. I was hoping he'd come back, but obviously he's not. Damn, that sucks, too, because I think he was going to have a good conversation. Hey, how are you?
Yeah, yourself?
Yeah, good. What's up with the whole get-up? I mean, you can do what you want. I was just wondering.
I'm a little bit extreme on the political spectrum, if that makes sense. I don't agree with either side. I'm a nationalist.
You're a nationalist? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. So what does that mean to you?
Like having pride in your country, putting your country first.
It's hard to understand you, dude. You're like mumbling.
Oh, my bad. I'm like all the way from the mic and whatnot. So I believe I think that we need to preserve our nation and all immigration, even legal, because a lot of them are coming from like countries like Africa, India, Muslims.
What if they come
Jews?
from? Well,
I'm not saying
Jews
Jewish people are
hardly.
bad.
Jewish people hardly migrate, but yeah, sometimes that's true. Real quick, I don't think that's that extreme. I also think we should end immigration. I don't know if I'd end all legal immigration, but I agree with you. I would end legal immigration from places that want to see the downfall of our country. But what about like illegal immigration from countries or from immigrants that actually benefit the country? Would you end that one?
Probably not. Like like if I were like president, for instance, I would end immigration from like say Africa, India, Bangladesh, Qatar, all Middle Eastern countries. I mean, China, probably not. They're pretty chill people.
Israelis are the second highest immigrants to have unicorn companies in the United States, which are companies that become $1 billion valuation within a year. So would you end there?
Makes you question.
No, that helps our economy. That gives jobs to people. That's
a
good thing. No, not in a way. That's how just general macroeconomics work.
Really?
Yeah. So why would you end that?
Good question.
Because you said all Middle Eastern countries.
Yeah. I mean, Israel in general, I mean, I'm not too keen on them because of like their influence and our politicians like funding them and whatnot. I think what they need to do is like label themselves as a what do you call them? Foreign interest groups or a foreign donor. They need to like register as a foreign donor.
There are Israeli groups that are already registered under FARA, is what you're looking for.
Perfect.
That's true.
Yeah.
So they already do that. I don't really understand that.
I never knew that. That's crazy.
Yeah, not every single, if they're American and they're advocating for American-Israeli alliance like AIPAC, they're not under FARA, but that's because they're American.
Yeah, exactly. AIPAC is the major one. For sure.
It's not that major. Last year they lobbied $3.8 million. It's not that much.
Weird. So I saw under Trump's on AIPAC tracker that he received $300 million. Supposedly.
Definitely not. What they're doing is AIPAC Tracker is a garbage website. But what they're doing is they're essentially just counting pretty much Jews like Miriam Adelson that gave money to him, and they just call it AIPAC.
Yeah.
But she's an American citizen. Just because she's Jewish doesn't mean she doesn't have the right to do what any other. Elon Musk gave him more money than Miriam Adelson did. Does that mean South Africa is lobbying because he's a South African? Like, it's ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah, you have some valid points. You got TikTok or anything?
Yeah, my name's Nick Matau.
Nick Matau. How do you spell it?
Type here. Thanks for the super chat, Yoshi. Can you explain the basis of Israel and U.S. in a video to dispel the ignorance? The world would benefit from your breakdown. Yeah, I could. I think I have already, but I could maybe make a new one. Ascented, thanks for the super chat. Hey, Nick, sorry, this is off topic. I've seen someone talking about electing a pro-Palestine president that would cut off Israel. Do you think it's possible, and should we in Israel be worried about it? I don't think a pro-Palestine president would. That is one of my accounts. That's my live account.
That's crazy.
That's my live account, just so you know. So that's not my main account.
Weird, because I saw you on something. What about this one?
That's one of my 3 accounts. That's my main one. I get banned a lot, so I have to kind of restart. On Instagram, I have more, because I don't get banned on Instagram. But yeah.
That's crazy, because I swear I hopped on your lives before, I think. Because I go under True Social, or not True Social. Truth News Today or something like that. I don't even go into True Social. I don't know why I even said that. But
okay.
I might be a little tipsy, so who knows. But there we go on, man. Take care. God bless.
God bless you, man. Honestly, that guy didn't even seem that extreme. He didn't even seem like he was anti-Israel.
Hello.
Even. Hey, what's up? How are you? What?
Erev Zach. I thought there was a program in Israel like decades back.
Oh.
And that's the phrase from there. It's It's something I wanted to say, dude. You run the thing about the Arabs in the car. Wouldn't it be Hara el Sayara in Arabic?
I have no idea. You're probably right, though. I have no idea. That might be
It's
true.
all right. It's all right. Anyway, thank you for what you're doing, dude. And Am Israel Chai, as always.
Israel Chai.
Cheers.
Yeah, hello.
Yo, why do you have the Israeli flag behind you?
I support Israel. What are you doing? What is that?
Why do you support Israel? Tell me.
Okay, calm down. Because there's a lot of reasons. Benefits
Wait,
to
wait,
you're already interrupting me. Okay.
No, where are you from? I just want to ask.
California.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, benefits to the world, their morality, benefits to America. I'm very much against the Palestinian proxy groups, IRGC proxy groups, the Palestinians' love for terrorism. So even if I didn't particularly like Israel, I wouldn't be on Palestine's side. And I guess the last thing is they've done more for the war on terrorism in the past 2 years than NATO has in 25 years.
What have they done?
With what? With the war on terrorism, or the first thing I said? You have to be more specific.
Yeah. The war on terrorism.
Just in leadership roles alone, they have taken out in the past 2.5 years about probably 500 to 700 that we know of leadership roles, from the IRGC to the Houthis to Hamas, PIJ, PFLP, DFLP, PRC, Army of Islam, Mujahideen brigades, militia groups in Iraq, Syria, and Judea Samaria, and then also, of course, Hezbollah. And I'm sure I'm missing some, but that's a general amount.
Okay, but they're all still running the same way. It's nothing has changed.
No, they're not. Not even close to the same way. Even they admit that. That's not true at all, what you just said. You think Hamas is running exactly... Let's start with one by one. Let's start with Hamas. You think Hamas is running the exact same way as October 6, 2023?
Well, maybe not, but...
Okay, so no. So, okay, good. It's just a yes or no. So next question, PIJ. Is the PIJ running the exact same way? Doesn't matter if there's context. Your statement was they're running the same way. It doesn't matter if there's context or not. You're wrong. How about Hezbollah?
How does context not matter? How does context not matter?
Because your statement was they're running the same exact way as October 6, 2023, and that's clearly not true.
Well, obviously, if they're murdering everybody in Gaza, they're gonna. It's not gonna be run the same way.
Everybody, dude, what are you talking about? The population of Gaza has gone up. Relax.
Why has it gone up?
Because you haven't murdered everyone. You just.
What do you? I don't mean it literally, but you're telling me you don't believe.
I know you don't mean it literally, but it's not even close to I wouldn't. It's not like they killed 95%, and I said it wasn't everyone because not literally. I just mean it's not even close to that. Like it's not even.
So what? Dude, how many were? Okay, please tell me how many were killed.
Well,
just in Gaza alone, the last couple of years.
So we don't know fully, but we can go with Hamas's numbers. Not that I particularly believe Hamas, but
why don't we know? Why don't we know, though?
Can you shut up for a second, dude? I'm trying to answer your question. You let me say 5 words before you freak out. Just relax, dude.
Go ahead.
We're not on a fucking time limit. Anyways, so according to Hamas, which I'm not particularly saying we believe them, but they don't allow anyone to do an independent investigations. People have tried. Hamas won't allow it. So according to Hamas, they said 72,000 people, and that's not innocent civilians. That's 72,000 total. So that's all of Hamas, PIJ, PRC, Army of Islam, Mujahideen brigades, BFLP, DFLP, collaborators, and citizens, right? All overall.
Right.
So, and then the amount of births that have happened in Gaza, according to the United Nations, has been about 150 to 200,000. Let's go with 150,000 to be conservative here. So that means double the amount of people have been born than killed. And that's even when you include terrorists that have been killed.
Okay, but it doesn't take away from all the innocent civilians that have been killed. So what if a million people are born?
You're strawmanning me. I didn't say innocent people weren't killed. Of course they are. People die in war. That's true, especially densely populated warfare.
I think majority. I believe majority of them were killed. Were innocent civilians.
What percentage of them were innocent civilians of the 73,000, 72,000, whatever?
Well, why won't Israel let any reporters? And they have murdered how many reporters?
There has been reporters, and Trey Yanks was just in Gaza. What are you talking about? There's been plenty of reporters. That's just a stupid talking point that pro-Pally say, and it's never been true.
No, but a lot of them were murdered too. For the longest time, they didn't let any reports.
No, that's not true. As for journalists that have been murdered, yeah, I don't care so much about people that just call themselves journalists. Let me ask you a question. Can you give me a accredited journalist who was actually murdered? Not someone who just calls himself a journalist. I'm talking about like an accredited journalist.
Honestly, I don't know by name, but I was familiar
I don't
with
care
a few.
then. I don't care then. I don't care about this number. Oh, 250 or whatever journalists have been killed. Just because you put on a press outfit and call yourself a journalist, I don't care. I hope you die too. If you're a terrorist or you're collaborating with them, you should die.
Okay, fair enough. I get that point. I'm trying to be more open minded, but my confusion comes in when America is so pro Israel. I never understood that.
Yeah, because they provide more for us. Tell me what Palestine has provided for us. Why would I be pro-Palestinian?
Okay, what have Israel provided for us compared to what we have given them?
Yeah, sure. So the Bird and Bard system has been something since 1977. Over 1,200 innovative projects have been funded and pushed forward by Israel and America. It's added tens of billions of dollars to our GDP, jobs. They also spend, at very minimum for the MOU, 500 million goes into direct funding. 3.3 billion as a credit system. They have to spend 75% into our economy, which creates jobs. They, by the way, beat that 75% almost every year. Last year alone, they spent 10 times the amount. I can tell you're not even listening.
I am
can
listening.
keep going. Okay, I can keep going. So on top
listening.
of that, medical technology, military technology, in 2022, they gave the United States Marine Corps a computer chip that actually upgraded their missile defense system. The trophy system that almost the entire military uses, that was Israel. They gave that to us. Roof knocking capability, stuff like that, we learned from Israel. So now that I've answered you, please tell me, what do we get from Palestine? We're the #1 funder of UNRWA by far out of every country, including the Arab Muslim countries. What did we get back in return?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
So that's why I support Israel. Why the fuck would I support Palestine? They're nothing but people that scream death to America. They're terrorists. I have no interest in supporting them at all. In fact, I hope they go away. I don't want them in that land. If on an individual level they support it, then I don't mind Arabs being on that land. But I'm talking about the ones that support the terrorist IRGC proxy groups. It's just leading to more terrorism.
I just think Israel has a little bit overrepresentation in American politics. I think they do.
Well, yeah, because Americans are generally pro-Israel. You said that yourself, so of course they're going to be in the politics. NRA, for example.
Heavily.
Do you know who
NRA? Heavily.
Do you know what NRA is?
I'm not sure. I've heard about
National Rifle Association. They're a lobbying group that's pretty much pro-guns. Okay. They are by far way bigger of a lobbying group, and the reason they are is because guess what? Americans like their guns. They like guns.
Wait,
and
bigger than what? Bigger than
AIPAC in Israel. Jewish? Yes, correct. Well, I was just going to say Israel, but sure, Jewish. NRA is huge, right? And by the way, I don't.
Okay, and how is it bigger?
Just let me finish. Bigger in literal like economics, like financial growth, and how much they put into lobbying. Can I finish my statement now?
Go. I'm listening.
So I donate to NRA, right? They're very, very big. Don't even get me started on the military-industrial complex. They're way bigger than even the NRA, AIPAC, Israel, any of that. But the reason is because Americans like their guns. So a lot of people give to NRA and they lobby more. Same thing with Israel. Americans generally like Israel. Obviously, there's a shift these past couple years, but still, compared to other countries, America is generally more pro-Israel. So when you say, well, why is there so much Israeli lobbying? Look, you can say that I'm against lobbying in general. I disagree, but I'm against some lobbying. But yeah, it's because Americans are generally more pro-Israel. If they weren't, guess what? AIPAC wouldn't be able to get as much funding, and they wouldn't be able to lobby as much. Let me ask you something. If you think lobbying is so strong, why don't you start a pro-Palestinian lobbying group? If lobbying is truly the way Israel is controlling the U.S. government and doing all these great things to get them money, if it's such a strong, efficient way to run, so why don't you start a lobbying group for the Palestinians?
I don't think it's that easy to just start a lobbying group, and I think
so just the Jews can do it. They're like the only ones that can figure it out.
No. I think they've been doing it for a very long time in America, way before.
So start now. It doesn't mean you're going to be done by next year.
Even during the civil rights movement, it was all
So AIPAC started in like the 1960s, bro. So no,
I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about the Israeli lobby in general. It's not AIPAC. I know.
Wait, hold on. Here forever. Wait. When was? When did Israel become a state?
Israel in 1948.
Right. So how could the Israeli lobby be in the Civil War, which was way before 1948?
Civil rights. I said civil rights movement.
Oh, my bad. I thought you said Civil War. I was about to say, Whoa.
No, Civil War was
Okay, fair enough.
1865.
Yeah. I thought you.
That's way.
I just misheard you. I was about to say, wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, civil rights is 1960s. That's fair. Okay. Anyways, no, like, look, I'm not saying that you should start a lobbying group right now and like it'll be done by next year and you'll be just as strong as APAC. No, I'm just saying start now. And there's a lot of rich people that are pro-Palestinian. Look at George Soros. He's Jewish, but he's very pro-Palestinian and he's very rich. You have a lot of Arabs, Muslims who are doing well off. And if it's such a strong, efficient way, why don't you just do the same thing? Other than Qatar giving more money than APAC ever will into our university system.
I think, for example, like, I don't know. I think it's hard to be a politician and be against Israel or.
Good. I'd rather our politicians be more for morality. Israel's clearly the moral side. I don't want politicians that are pro-Palestinian.
How is it moral side? I don't get it when Netanyahu is trying to cleanse and take over and just completely wipe out the city of Gaza.
When did Netanyahu says he wants to wipe out? Wait, what do you mean the city of Gaza? You mean the Gaza Strip?
They're planning on like
or Gaza City?
They're planning on.
Wait, you're not answering my question. When you say the city of Gaza, do you mean the Gaza Strip, or are you talking about specifically Gaza City in Gaza?
The Strip. Okay. No, the Strip.
So when did Netanyahu say he wants to wipe out the people in the Gaza Strip?
Well, obviously they don't literally say that, but their plan is to do that.
Wait, how do you know then if it's a secret? Like, how do you know? Do you have like information that we don't? I don't understand. How does that work?
No, I mean their plan is to do that, and they've.
Yeah, can you tell me how you know that? I'm all ears. Can you tell me?
What do you mean, Jared Kushner and some other guy were talking about a plan to rebuild Gaza?
What does rebuilding Gaza have to do with wiping all the people out? That's kind of the opposite.
Well, it's not literally wiping the people, but they're obviously not gonna own the land anymore.
Well, I hope so. I don't think that's true. Unfortunately, I think Israel's too nice. I hope they do take the land back. It absolutely should be Israel.
Why not?
What do you mean? When did the Palestinians have autonomy in Gaza? Do you know what year it was?
No.
2005. September 2005, Israel gives autonomy. It's not a sovereign state. It's not like theirs, but autonomy to the Palestinians. What did they do 4 months after owning it?
Not sure.
They vote in Hamas, a terrorist organization who participated in the first and second Intifada. They vote in Hamas, and then almost immediately after that, relatively immediately, they have a coup where they slaughter hundreds of Palestinians. They kick out the PA leadership, rip up the Oslo Accords, which was the only thing that was pushing, which I'm not even for the Oslo Accords, but the only thing that was pushing towards relative peace in the region. They ripped that up. They burned down all the greenhouses, burned down all the olive trees because they were given to them by the Jews, which Israel left behind because they were trying to jumpstart the economy of the Gazans. But these fucking barbaric, goat fucking piece of shit terrorist sympathizers in Gaza burned it all down because they didn't care about their economy. They didn't care about their children. They didn't care about their women, their men. They didn't give a shit. They cared about killing the Yehudis. That's it. And so they voted in a terrorist organization just 4 months after, who then committed, fast forward to October 7, 2023, where they slaughter 1,200 people, by far mostly civilians, into a music festival, rape, burn, kill babies, literally kidnapped a 6-month-old baby and then strangled him to death. And you're telling me that they should continue to be the autonomous force in the Gaza Strip? Fuck no. I hope they fucking... I don't give a shit what happens to them. I know Israel. I know what's going to happen. They're going to stay in Gaza. Israel's going to help the other countries rebuild Gaza. And they're just going to fucking do all this, try to do this shit again. And that's because Israel's too fucking damn nice. They are too damn nice. And you guys should be thanking your lucky stars that
you're talking about specific cases. Do you not know what the IDF has done to children and women? You're talking about strangling a little baby. You don't see the videos?
Sure. When did the IDF strangle a baby? I'd love to hear that. I'd be more than glad to call it out.
Why are you being so specific? You don't see dead babies?
You said, yes, of course I see dead babies. People die in war.
Okay, so why is that any different than strangling a baby?
Because it's not targeted. That's the difference. It's not like they
A lot of them
targeted.
have admitted that they're deliberately killing
Sure, tell me who.
babies.
Sure, tell me who said that
Wallah,
they
there is
were.
plenty of video.
Sure, give me a video where they said I was purposely targeting that baby. There was no Hamas
I
person
put
there
this
at
on
all.
everything. If you go and look
ahead.
it up, you will find.
Okay,
I
sure.
promise you will
all
go
right,
and
so
find it.
is it an IDF soldier? Is it
Where
a
they-
leader? Is it a politician? Who said it?
Yeah. Many times.
What do you mean? Yeah, I gave you options. That's not a yes or no question.
You can just search it up. I promise you, you'll
So an
find
Israeli politician said we are
search.
purposely targeting babies.
No. IDF soldiers.
Okay, IDF soldier says we're purposely
Yes,
targeting
being
babies.
being
IDF
happy.
soldiers says we are purposely targeting babies.
I don't know why you have to be widely specific. You know what I'm talking about.
That's what you just said, bro.
Okay, how many children have been killed in Gaza?
That's not the same thing. I didn't say innocent people don't die in war. You said that IDF soldiers, you said there was a plethora of videos of IDF soldiers saying we are targeting babies. Not babies die. There's a big difference between people dying when they're being used as human shields and targeting them. You told me to look it up, and by the way, there's nothing at all.
So you're telling me all the babies that have been killed, the tens of thousands, are just being used as human
there's
shields?
not tens of thousands of babies that have been killed. That's not even Hamas doesn't say that. But to answer your question,
well, many thousands of children.
Okay, wait, children, sure, but let me ask you a question. Okay, does Hamas have any? Yeah. Does Hamas have any military bases prior to October 7th, 2023?
I think they do.
Oh, really? What's the name of them?
Not sure, but
okay, no, they had zero. No, they had zero. So, do you agree that Gaza is a densely populated area?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, good. So if they don't have military bases and it's a densely populated area, where does Hamas do their operations out of? Where do they like shoot rockets and fight from and whatnot? Like, where do they do that from?
I'm sure they have similar bases.
They don't have any bases. Not sure. They have zero bases. They didn't have any. So where do they do their operations out of?
I could research that, but
it's called civilian. No, it's called civilian areas. You know the answer. You just don't want to say it. It's called civilian areas. So the next question. I don't think
it's all civilian areas.
It's also they have zero bases, dude. They don't have any bases, no military infrastructure. The closest they have are tunnels, but you're not shooting rockets out of a tunnel. So next question: do you agree that Hamas has uniforms? Like you've seen them on video wearing their camouflage and baklava and all that stuff. You don't believe me? I'll show you right now. No, I'm just saying. Do you agree Hamas has uniforms? Watch. Hamas
some do.
Uniforms.
I think not all.
No, all of them do. It's not like they're expensive, dude. These things, right? You've seen them wear this in the thousands.
Yeah, I've seen.
Every time they do a propaganda video, training videos, or when they're releasing hostages on a stage, they're all wearing uniforms. It's not like some are, some aren't. All of them are wearing uniforms. So my next question. Sure. When they fight, do they wear these uniforms or do they wear civilian clothes like this?
You tell me.
They wear civilian clothes. In fact, they posted. No, they don't. They wear civilian clothes. They posted out of pride. They're sometimes wearing red t-shirts, jeans, sneakers, and they do this all the time. So my question for you.
And that's majority or all of them? How many?
I have very rarely have ever seen a video where they're wearing a uniform. At very best, sometimes they're maybe wearing a vest. But I've never seen them wear what I just showed you. I'm not going to say the video doesn't exist. It's possible I've never seen it, but I've seen thousands of videos, and I have not seen any of them wear that when they're fighting. I've seen it in their propaganda videos, but not when they're fighting. My question for you, and I know you run in the military like me, but use a little common sense to answer this question because you can. What advantage would someone have to put on civilian clothes while being a Hamas operative? Why put aside a tactical gear, camouflage, vest, whatever? Why put that aside and put on just a normal t-shirt, jeans, and a sneaker? Why do that? What advantage does it serve?
It doesn't serve as an advantage, but I get what you mean.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I get your point.
What? No, we're not getting past this, brother. We're not getting past it. What advantage does it serve?
No. I said I get it. It's
I don't know if you
blend
get it.
in with the regular folks.
Perfect. Blend in with civilians. That's correct. So what is that called? Yeah. When you blend in with civilians while you fight, what is that called?
I mean, like you said, yeah, but I don't completely.
What's it called,
brother? We know what we're talking about.
Just say it then.
Using them as human shield. Yes,
human shield. Thank you.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that's not all of them. There's no way that all Hamas are doing that. There's no way.
Well, first off, even if it wasn't all of them, it really doesn't matter because that would still account for why innocents die. But second off, how the hell do you know that's not all of them? Tell me which Hamas members are like, hey, I'm very much against this, guys. We really need to separate ourselves from the civilians.
Because they've bombed hospitals.
Okay, well, bombing the hospitals is according to Article 19 of Geneva Conventions 4. So bombing of hospitals is allowed under certain conditions, of course. But
I know.
Yeah. Right. So that's not automatically wrong, right? If it was automatically wrong, they wouldn't have stipulations in Geneva Conventions 4. They would just say it's wrong. So my question for you is, well, one, what does this have to do with what they're talking about? But two, why do you think not all Hamas members use human shields? And what percentage do and what percentage don't? Jesus Christ, can you tell it, dude? Shut up.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening, brother.
I asked you a question. What percentage of Hamas members use human shields, and what percentage do you think are against using human shields?
I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say it's in 60 to 40%.
You don't know. 40. You don't know. You're speaking out of your ass right now, dude. You have no idea.
There's no way that most of them are.
Why is there no way? There's no way for Hamas to act like terrorists? Is that what you're saying? Because there's just such great people.
I said there might be a few that, a few good percentage.
Not a few, dude. I can't find a video. I can't find a video. Anyways, I can't find a video of them. Where?
Go, brother. Go.
Sure, no problem. So here comes the barbarism.
Yeah, he's angry. But go ahead.
Of course he's angry. They're emotional. You guys use emotions for your arguments.
It's not emotions. I think
it is. It is literally emotions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When you see all the videos, of course you're gonna. Because how many October 7th have Israel committed?
Yeah, sure, zero. But it's very easy to just scream. 15. No, not even close. The equivalent of Israel committing an October 7th would be going into Gaza to a music festival that you guys wouldn't even have in Gaza. But let's just say hypothetically. They used them like anyways, yeah. So it's pretty easy to just scream and cry and whine and use emotions in an argument. It's not so easy to actually debunk an argument.
Stupid ass.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, this is why you guys lose the argument on the world stage, because it's all emotions.
Yeah, because you got kids, you stupid.
Yeah, the kids. I think the kids.
Yes. I agree. I agree with you guys. Palestinians are the worst parents in the world, and they put their kids in harm's way. I think it's awful. I think it's disgusting.
Yeah, they all do. Yeah.
They do. You guys prop up a Hamas. Let me ask you something. Do you know what the Al-Mawasi zone is in Gaza?
No.
The Al-Mawasi zone was the humanitarian zone that Israel told all Gazans to go to if they're not part of Hamas or a terrorist organization. Most of them in the first months, from the very beginning of the war till literally now, actually. And most of them at the first months of the war, when Israel first invaded into North Gaza, over 500,000 Palestinians stayed in northern Gaza instead of going to the Al-Mawasi zone. Let me ask you a question. You tell me, or your little emotional friend can tell me, I don't care who, tell me why the Palestinian parents, tell me why they decided to keep their children in harm's way instead of going to the Al-Mawasi zone. Why?
They don't want to give up their land because
the land's more important than their children.
Ask them where they come from.
I mean, they're fighting for the land. It's something to fight for.
Okay, so then why do you cry when you become martyrs then? If that's a good thing and you're fighting for your land...
They're deliberately doing it. It's not...
You cannot stay in the way of Hamas, hide behind them and have them hide behind you, and then say, why are they killing people? You can't do that. You don't get to have both ways. You either want to be fucking martyrs and sacrifice your children to your demonic god or something, go for it.
But where are you from?
But it's insane. You don't get to have it both ways.
Yeah, but I don't think I agree with just them going after Hamas. I don't think they're just going after Hamas.
Okay, so then why has Hamas disproportionately been targeted?
Stupid. Ask them where are you from.
I think Hamas has been the same. I don't think Hamas is...
They've recruited a lot of people because the Palestinians are also terrorists, and so they join Hamas. That's true. So
well, obviously, if their whole
Hamas,
family is getting blown up right in front of them.
If you think doing it again is a smart decision, it's not. Real quick, did you
Well,
know?
no, I don't think October 7 was a good idea. I think it was very dumb of them.
And that's great. You should tell the Palestinians in Gaza. But real quick, 4 months. Jesus Christ, it's hard. 4 months after the war started, Hamas admitted to losing 12,000 of their members. Right? Or no, sorry, 6,000. The actual official number was 12,000. They said 6,000. That was just 4 months into the war. Right? Now, I don't believe Hamas, but let's just say they're telling the truth. Okay? Let's say 6,000. I'm sorry, what?
Why don't you believe them?
Well, because obviously they have. It's hard to talk to you with your guy crying like a bitch in the background. It's really tough.
Yeah. Mute, please, mute. No, I'm saying, how do you easily believe everything that Israel says, but you Hamas? No, Hamas.
When did I say that I believe everything Israel says? You're putting that on me.
No, you pretty much do. Where do you get your information from? How do you believe what's going on
First off,
there?
just so you know, the numbers I've given you up to this point have been from Hamas, not Israel. So you're actually wrong.
Okay, but yet you say you don't believe Hamas.
Of course I don't, because they lie. They've lied in every major war they've ever been in. For example, Kaslet operation. Hamas said that they only lost about 50 to 70 people.
What year was that? I'm sorry.
This was the 2008 one. And even in 2014 and in 2021, they did this. They said that they only lost like 50 people, give or take. And then 2 years after the war had ended, they admitted to losing 700 Hamas members. And they waited for everyone to get over the news of that war. And then they came out and said, actually, we lost 700. So they lie all the time. It happens all the time. But but real quick, let's say they're telling the truth. 4 months into the war, only 4 months. That's it. 6,000 members. That doesn't even include any of the other terrorist organizations. That's just Hamas. No. If Hamas at the time, this was when there was like maybe 20,000 deaths, 15 to 20,000. So how is Hamas being disproportionately targeted if Hamas is not being targeted according to you? Because even Hamas said that the percentage of death toll, the percentage that was Hamas, would be higher than the percentage of Palestinians that are Hamas. Do you get what I'm saying? Over-representation? Okay. I don't know if we're going to be able to debate longer, but...
I'm done. It's just my...
I want to talk to him a little bit.
والله ما تفهم. والله you're not going to understand them. They want to talk, but they don't. They're angry right now, so I'm trying to... Okay. He said he has a good point.
Okay, I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Here, just speak.
Okay, where they come from?
Who?
Israel. Where they come from?
What is your question? All Israelis? Most of them are Mizrahi and Sephardic.
They come from Europe. They're not from Palestine.
Most of them are not European Jews, actually. Over 60%, about 60% of them are Mizrahi and Sephardic. So you're already just wrong.
It's no Israeli. You book say no. You don't have no country.
Okay,
you don't have no country.
Okay, that's cool. Israel still exists at the end of the day.
No. One second.
So let me ask you something. Is he okay? Wait, hold on. Is he okay with Arabs migrating?
He's not.
Okay, so is he okay? Okay, I'm not. I didn't ask the question. Is he okay with? Can I fucking finish? Is he okay with Arabs migrating to the land who came from Arabia? He's okay with that, but he's upset if Jews come back to their land when they've been there first.
British bring them to fucking Palestine.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Your
but let me ask you.
Your friend's retarded, but anyways, keep going.
You are what? You're Christian or what are you?
Nope, I'm not Christian, Jew, or Muslim.
You're atheist or?
No, I believe in God. I'm a Noahide.
Noahide, okay. For me, the only concern is why are Christian Zionists a thing? Why are they so like? What is Judeo-Christian? I don't believe that. Can you explain that to me?
Are you Christian?
I'm not.
So of course you don't believe it.
It doesn't mean I have to be Christian in order to believe it or not.
Well, actually it would. To be a Christian Zionist, you have to at least be a Christian. So that's just not true. It's hard to talk to you with your guy crying in the background.
Okay. Tell me what the connection is. Because I don't believe there's a thing as such thing as
it's hard to tell you because you've never read have you ever read the Christian Bible? Like I've read the Quran twice. Have you ever read the Christian Bible?
Bible, no. Honestly,
okay, so it's hard to explain it to you. I would recommend you reading the book of Romans, right? It talks about this, and it talks about how the covenant of Israel, God's gifts are His promises and gifts are never revocable, right? They're forever, they're eternal. And so some Christians, not all, but some Christians believe that there is a plan for ethnic Israel, right? The Jewish people in his overall plan. And I'm not a Christian. I was born a Christian, but I'm not anymore. But you're not going to believe it anyways because you're, I assume, Muslim, yeah?
No, it's not that I believe it. I'm open to learning. I'm not.
Sure,
not being in denial of
Judeo-Christian
that.
values comes from the idea that Christians still believe in what the Jews called the Tanakh. They call it the Old Testament, right? The Ten Commandments are shared, right? So Judeo-Christian
Correct.
values is simply believing that they started off and still today are Jewish values. And then, of course, there's Christian values, which also stem from what they call the Old Testament. That's it.
Okay, makes sense.
Why
I just
aren't
don't
Muslims?
think it really-
Why aren't Muslims more
Okay.
Zionists? Because in the Quran it specifically says to the people of Israel to go back into the land I promised you and do not turn back, for you will be a loser if you do. Why don't you guys take that? That's from the Quran. Your little
That
friend is
verse-
upset that the Jews went into the land promised, but that's what the Quran tells Jews to do.
I'm not sure about that verse, but I would like to read it again.
Yeah, I have it right here.
I read
Let's see if
it
I
in
can-
full context.
That is the full context, brother, but all right. Let's see here. Those who disbelieved the Christian. Here it is. This is Surah 5, ayat 19 through like 23. Says, remember when Moses said to his people, O people, recall God's bounty upon you when he set up prophets among you and made you kings and bestowed upon you what he bestowed upon no other human beings. O people of Israel, enter the holy land which God has marked out for you, and do not go back to your old ways only to end up as losers. Then they said, O Moses, in this land there are men of great might. We will not enter it until they leave it. When they leave, we will enter it. This is from the Torah as well. It talks about when they enter the land and some were scared to enter because some of the Canaanite tribes are there. And then God punished them for that. So then they end up actually entering after.
Okay, sure. But is that referring to the same, Jewish people that are, today?
Who are the Jewish people
Israel?
today? Sure. Who
Like
are the Jewish
Israel, I'm
people
talking
today?
about the government of Israel that
No,
America
of course
supports so
not.
much.
You don't have to support the government at all. That has nothing to do with it.
But that's what America does. That's why
yeah,
they're
but
so.
America's a secular country. It's not. I was just bringing up the Quran. America's not a Muslim country, and they're not. I mean, I believe they're a Christian
I'm
country
talking about
culturally,
from the
but
Christian.
well, if you want me to pull up the Christian
Judea.
Bible, I can explain to you, like Romans 11, right? So Romans chapter 11 is the remnant of Israel. I ask then, did God reject his people? Talking about the Jews. Paul's the one that wrote the book of Romans, right? He said, by no means.
Okay.
I am an Israelite myself, a descendant of Abraham from the tribe of Benjamin. God did not reject his people whom he foreknew. Don't you know what scripture says in the passage about Elijah, how he appealed to God against Israel? Lord, they have killed your prophets and torn down your altars. I am the only one left and they are trying to kill me. And what was God's answer to him? I have reserved for myself 7,000 who have not bowed the knee to Baal. So, too, at the present time, there is a remnant chosen by grace. And if by grace, then it cannot be based on works. If it were, grace would no longer be grace. What then? What the people of Israel sought so earnestly, they did not obtain. The elect among them did, but the others were hardened, as it is written. God gave them a spirit of stupor, eyes that could not see and ears that could not hear, and this very day. David says, may their table become a snare and a trap, a stumbling block and a retribution for them. May their eyes be darkened so they cannot see and their backs be bent forever. So then right after that, I don't want to keep reading, but it's talking about how some were hardened and some continued, but it's not everyone that was hardened. And then it talks about the engrafted branches. And it says, did they stumble so as to fall beyond recovery? Still speaking about the Jews, he says, not at all. Rather, because of their transgression, salvation has come to the Gentiles to make Israel envious. But if their transgression means riches for the world, and their loss means riches for the Gentiles, how much greater riches will their full inclusion bring? That's what it's talking about. And then later he says that Jews are enemies to the Gospels for your sake, speaking to the Gentiles, saying that if Israel accepted the Gospels and accepted Jesus Christ, then it would have never spread to the Gentiles. So it's a good thing that Jews actually deny Jesus. Now, of course, if you're Christian, that should be temporary. You still believe by the end times Jews will start to believe in Jesus Christ. Again, I'm not Christian. I don't believe that. I'm just simply saying if you're Christian, that's what you believe.
Fair enough, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's gonna happen because the Jews very much dislike Jesus. For the most part, I would say.
No, I don't think that's going to happen either because, again, as someone who used to be Christian, I don't believe in that. I think Christianity, again, no offense to the people in the chat that are Christian, but for me, I think Christianity is more of Paul's religion, and it's something that stemmed from Paul more. And I believe that, especially the church, I was born as a Catholic, and I was a cradle Catholic. I left the church because I found it to be a heresy, to be honest, and I think they were changing a lot of stuff that's not even from the Christian Bible or Scripture. And by the way, a lot of Christians actually agree with that. But listen, I'm not here to change Christians' minds. I think Christians should be good Christians and continue to be Christians because Christianity is a blessing on the world. It's not changing anything in the negativity, whereas Islam does. And so that's why I advocate for Muslims to convert to Christianity, even though I'm not Christian myself.
What about Islam is so detrimental to the world?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when you look at the Global Terrorist Index, the top 15 on the Global Terrorist Index are all Muslim organizations, groups, whatever you want to call them. Sometimes it's 14 of the 15. Sometimes it just depends on the year. But generally, the top 10 definitely are all Islamic organizations. And when you look at the words of the Quran, especially the words of the Hadith, it specifically has an extreme amount of violence, especially against the unbelievers.
That's not true though. That's not true though.
The Quran says, "I shall cast terror into the heart of my enemies, so strike the unbelievers strike their necks and every finger until they submit."
Okay, show me that verse, please.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no problem. You think I'm lying?
Show me. I'm not. I think there's context to everything. I don't think it just says that.
I'll tell you what the Tafsir says. The Tafsir says to do that in a time of war. But then my question for you is, when is Islam not at war?
What do you mean, when is Islam not at war?
According to the Prophet Muhammad, he specifically defines what war is. And it says, even in the Quran, for why would you not fight against those oppressing others? So you are at war with people that oppress. So you can define that as anything. That by that logic, you can say America, you're at war with America forever because they oppress people. You can say you're at war with Israel forever. On top of that, there's the concept of Dar al-Islam versus Dar al-Harb. Dar al-Harb specifically means house of war, which they account for every non-Muslim country. So if you're calling all these non-Muslim countries house of war, and it says in war you should strike the necks of the unbelievers, what does that mean?
Fair enough. I don't know about that part, but
listen, I'm not saying every Muslim would personally do this themselves. In fact, I bet most Muslims wouldn't do it. We would know if most Muslims would do it because, you know, there's 2 billion Muslims in the world.
Yeah, there's many Muslims for you.
But I'm not talking about Muslims. I don't have a problem with Muslims per se. I have a problem with Islam.
How is that any different?
Yeah, very easy, right? A Muslim is a person. A Muslim is a person.
No,
You're a Muslim.
I know. Literally, yes,
Islam is
I know,
the belief. The belief doesn't change. A Muslim can change. A Muslim can choose to drink alcohol when he's not supposed to. A Muslim can choose to not believe in the things that I just told you or read the Hadith or know very much about it. But Islam doesn't change. Islam is very much solidified in its beliefs.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mashallah.
I think Islam is very close to like Christianity and Judaism. I don't think it's much different.
I think it's closer to Judaism than it is Christianity in terms of practice.
And I think they all have these extreme barbaric verses that are, not, like how can I say, like it's not compatible with today's way of life.
What, Islam?
I think all three, I think.
Yeah, but the difference is that Judaism and Christianity have modernized themselves, right? Like, for example, in Judaism, it specifically says if you're the daughter of Kohanim, right, and you become a prostitute, then you should essentially commit fire against her. Some take that literally, some not as much. Now, of course, at the time, what it meant, right, because I looked into this recently, what it meant was that the Kohanim are such in such high regard that it was actually what they believed to be better to do that to the daughter who committed prostitution because it could still save her soul in the long run. Now, me personally, as someone who's not Jewish, right, I don't know if I particularly agree with that, but that's something they do. But have they done that at all in the past 2,000 or even more years? No. As Christians, the Christians used to, they had the Crusades, right? Which, don't get me wrong, I think a lot of the Crusades made a lot of sense and was good, but on the way to actually defending their land, they slaughtered a lot of Jews who weren't even part of the Crusades. And they were doing it in the names of Jesus, right? Well, they were fighting against the Muslims, but yeah, true, a lot of innocent Muslims, that's true. But that doesn't, again, are Christians doing that today? No, if they did, I'd be more than glad to call it out, but they're not doing that. But Muslims are still doing that.
Yeah, I think it's a small, very small percentage of just the shitty Muslims.
In the United States of America, Pew Research did a poll and found that United States of American Muslims were the most liberal Muslims, if you will, the most not religious, if you will, not as pious. And they found 52% of them said that they agree with Sharia law. That's in America. So I would say most Muslims by far are radical, but I'm not going to say they're all
agreeing with
terrorists.
Sharia law. What does agreeing with Sharia law mean?
Yeah, sure. So do you
they
believe?
practice it?
Sure. Do you
They don't
believe that?
practice it.
Well, it doesn't matter. I don't think you should agree with it. Let me ask you, do you agree that in a court of law that if you were to testify against a woman just simply because you're a man, we should take your word over hers?
Wait. Say that example again.
Sure. In a court of law, if you as a man have a testimony, right? You give a testimony and the woman gives a testimony, we should automatically take yours and throw hers out because you're a man and she's a woman? Because that's what Sharia law says to do.
Yeah, but again, it's not. Why does that matter?
Again,
you can't put that. I believe it too. I think it's extreme too.
Right. So if you're saying that I agree with this, then you have an extreme mind.
That's my point.
Well, that's because they can't. No, it's because they can't. Or in the United States of America, you couldn't. Even if you wanted to, you can't. We have laws here. We're not a lawless society. But if you're saying I agree with it, that means if you had the ability to, let's say you were the president and you had all the power, not even the president, let's say you were the king of America, you would rip up the Constitution and you would put in Sharia law. That's what it is saying.
Well, if you're telling me if the majority vote and would want that,
I think the majority of Muslims would want that. Yes.
I disagree.
Okay.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I disagree. But
so why in Texas are they trying to make a Muslim-only city where they put in Sharia courts?
Well, there are Jewish cities in America. So what's the issue with that?
Again, Jews are not saying that, all these extreme stuff. Like I can go on and on about what it says in the Quran.
Yes.
They're not trying
yes, they
for
do.
that.
They're able to practice whatever, and nobody's.
Well, actually, no. That's actually not true. You can't practice something that's illegal. Again, Jewish city. When you say Jewish cities, you're just talking about cities where, well, really, it's not even cities. It's more like neighborhoods. But you're talking about neighborhoods where Jews live. That's true. I'm not saying that you can't go and live like a majority Muslim. Look at Dearborn. It's majority Muslim. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about trying to set up Sharia courts. Right? You're trying to bypass the laws of America. If Jews try to do that, I also would disagree with it.
Okay, and I think I disagree with them trying to pass Sharia law as the main law of a city or whatever.
Right. Jewish law is called halakha, right? Halachic. Halakha is the Jewish law. There's no neighborhood where they're trying to be like, no, don't get me wrong. I'm sure on a religious level, on a familial level, they're doing that, I'm sure. But I'm talking about like on a legal level, if you will, or like no other people are allowed kind of thing.
Plus, I don't think Sharia law will ever become. I just think it's a small percentage or a small number of Muslim. I wouldn't even call them extremists. That would want that to happen.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't think it's ever going to come to America because I think the people are starting to realize, even with the small amount of Muslims in the country that are coming from these Islamist countries like Syria, for example, I think a lot of people are already getting fed up with it. And you're right. I don't think it ever will happen. And thank God.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Majority,
look at New York City. New York City
if,
just voted in
if,
a communist Muslim mayor. So I don't know.
I don't think much is gonna change in New York City. I'm from New York City. I don't think much is gonna happen. He's gonna come and go, and nothing really.
Well, okay. Well, those free buses never came, so that's true. He's already trying to open up communist style grocery stores, which he promised would be within 1 year, and now he said 2029 is when it's going to come out. But yeah.
Even those, I don't disagree. I disagree with a lot of his ideas.
Me too.
I don't think he'll do more than 2 terms. I think he's gonna do 1 term, and that's.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yeah. Anyways, I just want to talk. One last thing is the Schofield Bible.
Yeah. I don't know what about it?
Why that's so influential in.
I don't think it's influential as some people push it, but it's something that was, it was pushed, and there's more evangelical Christians in America than there are in, I'm pretty sure, any other country by at least percentage. And I don't particularly care. Again, I'm not Christian. If I were to be, I think evangelical Christians make the most sense, but a lot of like Orthodox Catholics, etc., will say, well, that didn't really come about until like the 1800s. Again, I think that's a weak argument. Just say why you think it's wrong. Don't just say because it's newer, it must be wrong. Some of the original patriarchs of Christianity were wrong all the time, and we know that today. In fact, you know how many original patriarchs said that Jews will never, ever get to control Jerusalem again because of their denial of the Messiah? They were clearly wrong about that. So I don't think it's a good argument just to say, hey, this is newer, so therefore you're wrong. They might be wrong, but make the argument why they're wrong. Also, the Schofield Bible isn't really a Bible, just so you know. It's more of a study guide.
Yeah, it's a reference. Yeah.
Right.
But I think they do take a lot of inspiration. A lot of the evangelical, pastors, Americans kind of follow that after Oxford, you know?
Yeah, again, if somebody wants to make the argument as a Christian and why it's wrong, then just make the argument why it's wrong. Don't just say, oh, it's a newer thing, so therefore it's wrong. That's not a good argument to me.
Yeah, because they push the support of Israel to like a new level. And they kind of ran with that.
I think we should support Israel. I mean, for me, it's not particularly a religious thing, although, of course, I do believe in the God of Abraham. I believe in the covenant. But I don't need to use religion. But yeah, of course we should support Israel. It's the moral thing to do. It's right. And they are fighting against Islamist terrorism that literally surround their country. And they've been fighting at it since a minute after they established their country. And so I think it's a good thing that we support them.
Okay, and one last thing. What do you think about the war going on right now?
In Iran?
Yes.
I hope the IRGC gets fucked back to the Stone Age. I hope they get collapsed so fucking hard that the Persian people, the rightful people of Iran, take back their country from these Islamist pedophiles. Honestly,
but do you think that's possible?
Of course I do. We've already shifted the entire energy market to the Gulf of America and the United States. We're making deals with Indonesia for the Straits of Malacca and Straits of Singapore. There's a lot of stuff happening in the background on top of us blockading the Strait of Hormuz. I think this time next year, the IRGC is going to be, at very, very best for them, a very broken shadow of their former self. At worst for them, I think they'll be collapsed.
Fair enough. And do you think they're being fully transparent about everything that's going on? The Trump administration?
Well, I hope not. I mean, we should have secrets in the military and things that are classified. I was in the military for 12 years.
They said this would be over.
When? They didn't say that. No, they didn't.
Well, not over. Like they make it seem like it's under control, and
it is under control. The IRGC hasn't launched anything in the past days. Very, very, very little. They can't even break the blockade. Like what? How is it not under control? What is the IRGC doing right now that somehow thinks they're in control?
Okay, so when is this gonna be done? I don't understand. America's in such.
I can't read the future. Control. I have no idea, but it's not really in my interest to really care. I trust my president, and as long as he doesn't try to send like hundreds of thousands of troops and do the Iraq strategy, if he tried that, then I would come out against it. But as long as he doesn't do that, I trust my president, and I think he's doing a lot of moves in the background that is shifting the energy market to America's favor. That's not just beating the IRGC in war. You understand that's gonna bring so much money permanently to the United States, and we're gonna control the energy market. I mean, shit, we already control so much. I think it's incredible. I think what Trump is doing is absolutely incredible, and I hope it works out.
We'll see. We'll see about that. Hopefully, it does come to an end because I feel like this war is not gonna. But yeah, anyways, brother, it was nice talking to you.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Shock, thanks for the super chat. In Jewish law, a woman is generally not qualified to serve as a formal witness in a rabbinical court for matters that require two valid witnesses. That's true. You're right. I've read that, and I'm against it. And the second Jews start to like try to establish that as like some kind of rabbinical law beyond just like maybe their own individual beliefs, I'd be more than glad to say I'm against it. I don't particularly agree with it. In some cases, I do agree with it, but not as an outright thing. But yeah, that's me. Listen, I'm not Jewish. I'm not Christian. I'm not Muslim. I have obviously a lot of disagreements with Islam. I have disagreements with Christianity. Someone who was raised Christian. For me, it really just stems down to I don't understand this concept of, yeah, he doesn't fulfill all the prophecies, but he will when he comes back. Nowhere in any of the original prophecies about the Moshiach, Messiah, whatever you want to call him, does it say that that's going to be a thing. Does that mean I'm right? No, of course not. I could absolutely be wrong. And I guess if I am, I guess that means I'm going to burn in hell, which sucks. But, you know, you can't force me to believe something because it's in my mind. It's like I literally I could say I believe it, but I literally can't. As for Judaism, there's things that I disagree with on rabbinical Judaism. Not the Torah. I agree with the Torah completely, which is why I'm a Noahide. And that's it, you know, and I get it. I understand there's a lot of people in the chat that probably, well, I don't really care what the Muslims think, but I get there's Christians in the chat that are like, oh, come on, Nick. And I get that. I totally do. I'm sure there's Jews in the chat when I say stuff about rabbinical Judaism I don't particularly personally agree with. I'm sure even they're like, well, no, that's not really what it means. I get it. I totally do. But I mean, I don't think I'm supposed to believe it. I'm not Jewish. But I think it's okay. I think that's totally okay. The thing is that Christians don't put fatwas on me or try to like fucking, I mean, there might be some that would do it, but I haven't ran into one yet that want to like fight me or be violent against me just because I say that. A lot of Christians actually say stuff like, I'll pray for you, which I think is actually very beautiful because that means that they care about me so much that they're, regardless of belief, like I believe it, they don't, they believe it. And so for saying like I pray for you, it's like them saying like I care enough about you to save your soul. It's like, why would I be against that? It's like when you ever see someone that says like bless you and some like atheist like, well, I'm not religious. It's like, shut up, just say thank you, right? Brad, thanks for the super chat. Debate IP inspiring philosophy about Christianity. I have no interest in debating Christianity because I'm not trying to, I have nothing against Christianity. I mean, don't get me wrong. Could I debate it? Sure, but I don't have anything against it. In fact, anyone who watches my lives, when I'm speaking with a Muslim, Jews don't proselytize. I'm constantly saying you should convert to Christianity. I don't have anything against it. I just don't agree. So it'd be it'd be a very boring debate because it's kind of like, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Like the person debating me would probably get pissed off. Like, say something back, you know? Same thing with Jews. Like I could debate things to an Orthodox Jew of things I don't particularly agree with in rabbinical Judaism, but it's going to be a pretty boring debate because I'm not against it. I just don't believe it. Well, everything. Lebron, thanks for the super chat. Ashkenazi Jews have 50% Middle Eastern DNA. Actually, they found Ashkenazi Jews, 85% of them had Levantine DNA. So I think what you generally are saying, not just Middle Eastern, but Levantine in general. And they actually found 40% of Ashkenazi Jews linked back to 4 different women. All 4 were actually from the Middle East. 3 the Levant, and one of them was actually from Persia. I'll be right back, you guys. Missing super chats. Thanks, Malkin. Noah Hyde is 3 commandments short of a Jew. That's funny. I would say it's actually closer to 606 commandments short of a Jew, but I get what he's saying. He's trying to say because Noah Hyde laws are 7, and then there's the 10 commandments, but of course we know Jews have 613 mitzvot. Is there a reading list you would recommend that would give a good background on what shapes your argument? Gosh, I get this question every day. I've read so much. Everything, read everything you can. Anti-Zionist, Zionist, just pick what your style is. I can tell you what my style is. I've read stuff like Arab-Israeli Wars, The Massacre Never Was, How the Arabs Migrated to the Land of Israel, Israel a History, both of them. Those are like 600 pages each, though, so that one's a long time. I've read anti-Zionist books, Ilan Pape. I've read Konstantin Sarek. I mean, there's a lot, dude. Breads, what's your thoughts on BB? He sounds like a demon. Oh, how the fuck does he sound like a demon? What? I get you're being a little hyperbolic, but I think BB's incredible. I think he's a very special guy with a very special brain. I think he has reshaped the Middle East in such a short amount of time for the time period that he's been in. Now, I've heard of some domestic things that Israelis don't like. I don't even know if they're right or wrong, but I don't care about that because I'm not Israeli. I totally get why they care about that, but I don't give a shit about that. I care about what he does on the world stage. And on the world stage, I think he's incredible. I think more leaders being like him and having that hard lines that he does, I think the world will be in a better place. BB is too soft, in my opinion. I think BB is very good on the world stage. And sometimes that means balancing international pressure with... I get it. Trust me, I do. And I say it all the time. I all the time say that BB is being too soft. But it's very easy for me to be in some fucking podcast, looking chair, whatever, and say that shit. Moderation, LOL, no radicals. Yeah, BB puts he brings in radicals, but he also puts a bit of the brakes on them. I think it's good. Nick, what other areas of life are you passionate about besides politics? If you forced to do an online channel on another non-political subject, what would it be? Italian food? I was gonna say history, but I guess that stems into politics a bit. That's a good question, actually. I've never gotten asked that. Let me think about that for a second. Shock, thanks for the super chat. Maimonides rules in Hilchot Adut, I hope I said that right, 9.2, that women are unacceptable as witnesses according to biblical law, citing masculine form in Deuteronomy 17.6, according to the testimony of 2 witnesses. Yeah, okay. Again, I disagree. But again, I'm not Jewish, so I don't think I have to agree. You know, the most base things Maimonides ever said was that the Arabs were put on the world as punishment to the Jews. I'm trying to answer that question. What would I talk about if I was forced to do a live not about politics? Probably like travel. Like I'd like to travel more, and I like to talk about like it'd be cool to do lives and talk about like different cultures, especially like food. Like every time I travel, I really enjoy talking about or going to like street food markets and seeing like I think culture you can see culture in a lot of different ways, and it's art, ancient times, whether it's pottery, which I guess kind of art in a way, but food is like a big one that I think really says a lot about someone's culture. Not just food, also their holidays. The food and their holidays, those two things. That'd be really cool. Terrence, thanks for the super chat. Defend the dancing Israeli. It doesn't add up. Well, it doesn't add up because there's no such thing as the dancing Israelis. There was literally never, ever any dancing Israelis. The original FBI report, the original person that called into the police, FBI, never used the word dancing Israelis. That phrase comes from Muhammad Atta's father. Muhammad Atta was one of the terrorists, the hijackers. And in Egypt, he specifically did an interview like a week or two after 9/11, and he said that there was dancing Israelis that were arrested because he was trying to blame it on Israel. He obviously was just mistaken. He literally just said something stupid, but people just ran with it. Wasn't the dancing Israeli video a hoax? There is no video on any dancing Israelis. There's videos on dancing Palestinians that were dancing like crazy after, because of 9/11, but there's literally no video of dancing Israelis. I have no idea how this has stemmed for so long. People still consistently say dancing Israelis. It's like, dude, it literally is not a thing. There were Israelis that were arrested on 9/11. They were put through a lot of strenuous interviews and stuff, and they were released. But guess what? There was thousands of people in the first months and days, even actually hundreds, that were arrested for odd behavior. Some way worse than not dancing, dancing but not dancing, right? And so the only reason people talk about that one is because, let's be honest, no Jews, no news. Like, that's really it. Nick, do you believe prophecy is being fulfilled? Of course I do. Of course. Look, for me, as someone who's not obviously very religious, obviously I believe in God 100%. I'm not, when I say not religious, some people think like I'm agnostic. No. Very much a believer in God. When I say not religious, I'm talking about, I guess, like organized religion, if you will. But as someone who's not particularly religious but believes in the words of the Torah and the Tanakh, historically with the Tanakh, how do I say this? I believe that if either I'm wrong and there is no God, or God does exist and the Jews are correct, and if it's Christians that are correct, for me, it makes sense that it has to be the evangelicals, because especially the book of Romans, but not just that, beyond that. Obviously, I have a bias, but I think bias is what forms our opinion, so I don't see why that even actually matters. To me, Islam, I've read it too much. It's impossible. I've tried to read it like in a way it's like, maybe it could be right if it, no. It literally cannot be. For me, the original's right or none of it. That's where I stem the most, because I think it makes sense, and it's very easy for people to come later and be like, oh, us too, and here's our book. And like, when you read the books, when you read the New Testament, a lot of it kind of sounds like someone was inspired by the Old Testament and they kind of wrote stories that are almost the same with slight changes. Same thing with the Quran. Actually, the Quran even more, because now they have, they take a lot from the Torah and they take a lot from the Christian Bible. They even, the Quran even takes from the heretic Christians, right, with the Gnostics and what they believed, and the infancy gospel of Thomas. If you guys don't know that, a lot of Christians don't even know about it. Look up the infancy gospel of Thomas. There's a story. It talks about when Jesus was a child, essentially. And it's funny, in it says that Jesus actually killed somebody as a child. It's actually kind of crazy, which is obviously why most Christians call it non-canon, right? Pretty much every Christian. And so what's interesting is there's a story in there where Jesus creates these clay birds. I think he creates 2 or 3 of them. Okay. And someone like goes to get an adult and he blows into one of the clay or both of the clay birds, and they become real birds and they fly away. Now, of course, the Christians at the time, talking to the Prophet Muhammad, they told him that story not because it was canon, but because it's just a story. But he puts it in the Quran because he believes it's an actual, real story. Like, it's funny. You guys should look into it. He put something that's essentially fan fiction into it because he thought it was like an actual real, Christian story. But yeah, for me, it's just either the first is correct, the original, or none of it is. But secondary belief is that if Christianity is correct, it has to me, the Protestants make the most sense. As someone who was baptized as a Catholic, Protestants, when I would go to a Protestant church, because sometimes I'd expand out after I left the Catholic Church, they really cared about reading the Bible way more than the Catholic Church did. Like, they were like, this is what the Bible says, let's study it, let's see how it applies to life. The Catholic Church was more about, don't get me wrong, albeit beautiful traditions. Like, even if you don't believe in it, just seeing a mass and just the traditions of Catholicism is very beautiful. And I hope one day I can visit the Vatican, because it's very beautiful, and hopefully it doesn't get taken over by Muslims by then. I'm just kidding. That Muslim prayer room is gonna turn into a whole damn fucking mosque. Anyways, yeah, Protestants make the most sense. For me, the biggest thing that I just can't really get behind, and hey, maybe one day a Christian will convince me, but I just can't get behind this idea that it's like, oh, he didn't fulfill the prophecies, not even the important ones at all, but like he will when he comes back. I'm sorry. Again, I know I have a lot of Christian followers. I promise you, I'm not trying to offend you guys. It's just my belief. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But again, obviously I can be wrong. There's nothing about Christianity that like, to me, completely is like, oh, this is so debunks itself. It's super contradictory. I think everything in every Bible is, you could argue, can be contradictory if you try to nitpick certain things. Whereas the Quran, you read it and it's extremely contradictory. It's very obviously created by a man who just wanted to say that he was being inspired by God. Like, it's insane how people don't see that. But again, for me, again, you can call it a simplistic view. That's fine. But for me, it's the original's correct or we're all wrong. That's my primary belief. Tyrone, thanks for the super chat. The Quran made me win my UFC title belt. I don't really get what that means, but that's awesome. Tyrone, thanks for the super chat. I hate the new pope. He's a beta king Trump humble. Not really sure what you mean by that. Callisto says real Christians aren't offended. Yeah, I know. That's why I really love Christians, because they're so, it's kind of like being an insecure person. You know, you get upset when other people don't like agree with you. It's like if you're an insecure boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, you get real offended. But if you're secure in your beliefs and you're secure in your relationship, you don't really get offended very easily. And that's how most Christians are, honestly. I have met some Christians who, by the way, know very little. You know, ironically, the Christians that know most about the Bible, that would school me any fucking day and just like biblical speak, which I admit, I'm not a scholar. They're the ones that aren't the ones that get offended. They totally see where I'm coming from. Like, yeah, that makes sense. And, you know, I'll pray for you and I hope, and I'm here if you have questions. The ones that get the most offended, I'll bring up like the book of Romans and they just like don't know anything about it. It's insane. Disobey, thanks for the super chat. Favorite story from Quran is the stone that stole the robes of Moses. Yeah, wait, is that in the Quran or was that the Hadith? Maybe it is the Quran, actually. Sometimes I blend them a little bit. Shocked, thanks for the super chat. Rabbi Tovia Singer utterly debunks Christianity. Are you familiar with him on YouTube? I am familiar with him. I think he's knowledgeable. I also think sometimes he kind of bothers me a little bit because there are some Jews, it's not common, but there are some Jews who seem to have this really big problem with Christianity, and the same ones are, I'm not saying it's bad if they have a problem with Christianity. They're not Christians. Have a problem with it, okay? If you can bring your words and debunk it, whatever you want to call it, and you have that belief, of course you should have that belief. You're not a Christian. You're not a Muslim. You're a Jew. You should have the belief. However, some, again, not all, some Jews, they have this problem with Christianity, which I'm sure stems from generational trauma with how the Christians treated from the Inquisition, times in Europe, how they treated the Jews versus even the Muslims, which a lot of times it was much worse. However, they have this defense almost, or like this understanding with Islam. It's not like they're just like, I disagree with Christianity and Muslims because I'm a Jew. I don't agree with your guys' book, and here's why, right? It's like I have a hatred towards, almost. And to me, it doesn't make sense because Christians are not doing that to Jews today. They're just not, right? Christians are, if not the biggest, some of the biggest allies of Jews today. And yes, of course, have the difference of opinion. Of course, you should. Christians should not agree with Judaism. You know why? Because they're Christians. Jews should not agree with Christianity. You know why? Because they're Jews. But when you, again, I'm speaking to a very, very, very specific people. When you have this like push towards just Christianities, when Christians aren't doing that anymore today, and not against oh shit, hold on a sec. Not against Islam, who is doing that to you today. That's the difference. Okay. Real quick, I need to end the live. I forgot I had a call scheduled 11 minutes ago. Thanks for the super chat, Billy. Most Muslims haven't even read the Quran. The most information they have about the Quran is either from their lying scholars or Islamic websites. That's true. Yeah. Anyways, that's just my opinion. I know it's a sensitive topic. Some people might disagree, but hey, that's why you guys click on me, right? So you don't think I'm going to lie to you. I'm going to give you my opinion even if you disagree with it. So, you guys, as always, thank you so much. That was a great conversation we had last time. Right now, I have a line of YouTube videos. I'm trying to come up with one every day. The next one that's going to come out tomorrow, should be tomorrow, will be that one Groyper guy from a few days ago trying to ask questions. And then I have, honestly, a few conversations from last night's live. Last night's live was good conversations, and I'll probably even clip the conversation I had with this Muslim guy outside. He was pretty cool, actually.